Hello.
How you doing out there in wonderful YouTube/SoundCloud land? Hope you guys are doing all right. Welcome to The Real Cast, where we do a movie podcast. We talk about all things movies, and we have some fun movies to talk about this time around. We do, at least.
Well, 2 out of 3 maybe.
And of course, we have my guest as always, Mr. Wild Bill William Wayne. And joining us because we're talking about Star Wars today, so we have to include him all the time if we're talking about Star Wars. But we have Mr. Trae Murray.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. And so we got a bit of an interesting lineup today because not all 3 of us have seen all 3 of the movies that we're going to talk about today. So we have Solo, Star Wars movie that we're going to talk about. These guys have seen Solo. I have not. We have
You're
Deadpool.
so lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
We have Deadpool 2 rather, that myself and William have seen, and Trae has not. And then we have The Incredibles 2, which is another sequel that we have seen and that William has not. So we're not going to delve into too many spoil. Actually, if you guys want to spoil, guys want to spoil Star Wars,
First of all, I'd like to apologize. Say we didn't do this sooner to save all those people from wasting their money and time. That's 2 hours of money. I don't know how much you spent, but you'll never get that back. And we're so sorry.
So it looks like we're gonna have another good, bad, and ugly type thing. So we have the good, the guy that goes kind of like, okay, it was all right, and then the guy that was just like, all right. I'm gonna say it's good because I didn't see it, so I can say anything I want to about it.
Right. Well, if you've seen the trailers, you've seen it.
Just about. Yeah, you could splice the trailers back together, and
that's the movie.
I've only seen. I saw the teaser trailer, and it didn't have Han Solo in it. I remember that. That was the Super Bowl
the
trailer.
Han Solo without the Han Solo. I thought it was funny. It's like, hey, let's release a Han Solo clip without him in it. What? And then I was like, no, seriously.
That tells me you have a lot of faith in your actor, right? I mean,
the first one, and then we put the guy in it. Oh, that's great. I love it.
And then there was the second one. I actually enjoyed the second one. I was like, okay, I can kind of get with this a little bit. Like it seemed like it was just going to be like a fun movie. If anything, it was going to seem like it was a fun movie.
It seemed like
it was going to be. But I was not really. I didn't want to drink the Kool-Aid just yet. I didn't want to do that just yet, just because I was like, I've been fooled by trailers before. This looks like it's going to be fun, but the main thing that I was really worried about was like, is this just going to be a movie just to be making a movie about Star Wars? Because we have to keep Star Wars on the mind because we can't remember Star Wars after many years.
30 some odd years of Star Wars and you can't remember
a
it.
thing. It's not like they haven't done like what sequels to the original or other sequels to the or prequels to the sequels,
TV shows,
to the sequels,
animated series,
and then
loads and loads of fan fiction, that's now null and void.
Books,
we can't
comic
remember
books.
Any of that stuff.
We don't have. There's nothing to remind us of Star Wars.
There's no toys littered around the house.
No.
And don't
posters.
forget the re-releases of the original.
of course,
like over several years because they had a re-release that came out in theaters again, and then they had re-release and then more re-releases on DVDs.
Because Lucas had to keep refining the product and adding more CG puppets. And,
well, he did. We all know. Well, we all know he did. Yeah, the blinking Ewoks. We all know he went too far because he's old and he just has a lot of money. He goes, I'll do it. I don't care. Get off my lawn, No. That would be good. No.
Okay. So, all right. So we're going to talk about Star Wars first. Well, I should say Solo first. Solo, a Star Wars story, because that's how they have to name all their spinoffs now.
Yes.
So, at least they named this one kind of okay. Not like the Clone Wars or anything like that. It's like the title is always in the middle of Star Wars, so you have to kind of read it that way. It always kind of threw me off. I'm just like, all right, you have the Clone Wars. It's like, okay, Star of the Clone Wars. And this one they actually did it right. I was like, okay, Solo, a Star Wars story. I'm like, all right. There you go.
Yeah. They finally said, hey, this is the right way. This is stupid. The other way.
So what did you think of the movie? I'll start with Trae. We'll start with Trae. See what he thought of the movie. What you think?
I would say I have a slightly happier opinion of the movie than William does. That being said, I would rate it up there as this is a good movie to grab some popcorn and enjoy, but you're not gonna learn anything new. not really, and you're not, and it's enjoyable, but it's not groundbreakingly enjoyable. The best way I could describe it is you take a plot from about 2 or 3 Clint Eastwood westerns, mix it with a little Firefly, and throw it in the Star Wars universe. That being said, there's no force powers, there's no lightsabers. Nope. So is it really Star Wars? But overall, I mean, it's a decent film, but I don't know if it really rates up there with the rest of the franchise. Not recently, anyway.
All right.
Well, but let me ask you. Well, let me ask you too. You did see the trailer,
yes,
right?
Yes.
When you saw the trailer, what's the main thing you noticed? Because I just watched it again. What was the main thing about the trailer? Not specific details, but overall that jumped out at you. Do you remember?
It's been a little bit since I saw the trailer, but
when you think about the trailer, what's the initial? Because you talked about the Super Bowl one.
The Super Bowl one.
What did you notice?
No Han Solo.
Well, other than that, what else did you notice? Because it was dark.
Dark.
Yeah, it was dark. Even if you saw the previews of the trailers, the movie was dark. I mean, very dark. Almost all of it was dark. The only time it wasn't dark was, I think, near the end. They were on that planet. That's the only time it wasn't dark. And I'm like, am I getting glaucoma? Do I get a eye doctor or something? Why the heck is it so dark? I just couldn't figure that out. And it's almost like they were trying to save the budget money. It's like, well, if we make it really dark,
lights.
if we make it really dark, they won't see the strings on the puppet guys, and they won't, see the alien mask or the non-blinking Ewoks. They won't see that as effectively, and so we can just do that.
That's odd, because even like the darker movie, I would definitely say that. Well, I haven't seen it, but I'm definitely going to go out on a limb and say that Rogue One was a darker movie,
plot-wise for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even then, like that whole movie wasn't shrouded in darkness.
No.
Right. This I want to say probably 2/3 of the movie was probably dark.
Yeah. I mean, it starts off in sewers, and then night spooky looking planet, and then goes into basically what looks like the underground criminal underworld, which looks like a bunch of like what do you call those things? The metal crates, storage containers welded together. I mean, it just.
Because you got the beginning part where then they get the chase through this thing, and it's dark. And you got the I guess it's a processing station where they get separated. It's dark, and then he goes to war. It's dark, and then he's in the pit with Chewbacca. It's dark, and then they get away and they blip out the ship. It's dark, and then they go to the train rescue. It's dark, and then they go.
It was either cloudy or underground the whole film. I mean, that's
I don't know. That's just a weird choice, because wasn't this supposed to be one of the more? At least that's the vibe I got from the trailer. This was supposed to be one of the more fun, actiony type movies. So
when they went to meet the main bad guy, it was even dark in his little ship club thing. Yeah, it was dark there. It was dark when they went to find Lando Calrissian. It was dark when they did the Kessel Run. Like I said, the only time it wasn't dark was pretty much at the end, when they took whatever the stuff was to get refined at that planet.
Hyper space fuel.
Yeah. Okay, so, all right. Did you have any?
I was just going to say, the only thing I noticed that stuck out at me from the trailer wasn't that it was dark. It was the modifications to the Millennium Falcon. That was the only thing that that's
well, and that, but that's
caught my
okay.
attention.
But that's okay because they talked about that sort of later on.
Yeah,
but
the growth of the ship.
It's like okay, it's like they took parts of the movie from the original Star Wars trilogy, especially the New Hope, and said, okay, we mentioned these things, or you've seen them briefly. Let's make a movie about those things and how they came to be. I'm like, I don't really care because they didn't. It's not a really big deal. In fact, it's like with the, like his dice hanging from the cockpit. That's a thing apparently. Or got his gun. Somebody gave it to him. Okay, it's like. All right.
In some ways, it does more damage than good to the character of Han Solo, in that you take things that were part of his mythos and now you're trying to explain them away. Sort of like, well, what is a midi-chlorian anyway?
Yeah, see,
it's not the Force; it's all midi-chlorians. It's like I don't want to know the science. Right. It's magic by another name. So let's just leave it that way.
Yeah, that annoyed me too.
Yeah.
But then by with doing that, for example, but that came before the other movies. So when Ben Kenobi's saying it's a force that surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds you. No, you're not. You're a liar. You're a liar, Ben Kenobi. It's a bunch of little crazy bacteria in my blood, liar. You know, I mean, I'm like, So with like this movie, you know, it's like, well, first of all, the main character didn't really portray Han Solo. He portrayed a dude trying to pretend to act like he sort of was Han Solo-ish.
That brings me up to the question now, like, how were the characters in this? Because you had, you know, I always mess up the guy's name. So
Donald Glover.
Not Donald Glover.
Okay.
No, he messes up Donald Glover. Not Woody Harrelson. The guy that actually plays Han Solo.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I was saying just earlier, it was almost like Chris Pratt, Space Lord, trying to be Han Solo.
Yeah.
That was the attitude I got.
But like,
wait! Did you say Space Lord? Star-Lord,
Star-Lord,
man.
sorry.
I had to throw that out there.
Words.
This is how bad this movie is. It's making us forget words.
Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
This is almost no.
See, I'm gonna have to put that in the video now. It's just gonna be like a sound bite of of Chris Pratt. It's like Star-Lord, man.
Well, but here's the thing. It's not as good as him being Star-Lord. It's somebody trying to, like, a bad cosplayer who has a good costume but really just can't pull it off.
I wouldn't hire him as my Elvis impersoner. You know,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. But okay. So overall, I mean, when I said good, I wrote too many O's. I said good. There were some jokes that were good. Mm-hmm. The sound effects, of course, you know, and special effects, you can't, you know, it's Lucasfilm or Industrial Light and Magic. You can't go wrong there.
Yep.
Yeah, they're always good.
The only good part about the music were the little snippets from the old music.
Yep.
And I had mentioned this before with y'all three, is like kind of like some of the old other movies that came out. They had those little snippets of the older movies. I remember, like, when they're doing the Kessel Run, they threw in the Empire Strikes Back asteroid music in there. And then you're like, oh, I remember that. That was when it was good. And you're like, yeah. And you go, this is
fond
so
memories.
Good. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, we love Chewbacca, although, get to that in a minute. Donald Glover as Lando, that's what I think we want to see. We want to see a guy, and then they go like, oh, we don't want to see someone act like they're trying to act like Harrison Ford. Yes, we do. We all do.
You kind of have to have some kind of likeness there.
Right. You can't just put the clothes on. I mean, no offense, as fat as I am, put me in the clothes, and I'll be like, I can do the Kessel Run and, you know, whatever.
12
hey,
parsecs.
how's it doing? Hey, Chewie, how's it going?
Because
you know?
I can kind of relate that to another movie from a different franchise, but the X-Men films. Like you had, what's his name? I always forget his name. But you had the guy that played Professor Xavier.
Yes.
I always forget his name, and I shouldn't. But
Young X.
yeah, so you have that version, and then you have Patrick Stewart.
Right.
You know, but you can kind of see, like, okay, I can believe that these two characters are the same people.
Mm-hmm.
There's something there. Now, they don't act exactly the same. No, they never will. But there's something there that, okay, I have to bring some essence of this performance into mine, because you have to know that these are the same people.
Right.
So,
Well, in The Phantom Menace, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
He nailed
Obi-Wan.
Alec Guinness. Yeah, he nailed it. I mean, and we were like, yeah, that's what we want to see. So that's the thing. I mean, yeah, the movie wasn't that great, although I think it was probably the best of those three. I mean, in parts, you know, Jar Jar and everybody hated the
Get rid of the Jar Jar Phantom. It's okay.
And again, this is nothing, you know, versus the actor. I think, I don't know. I mean, again, you know, he's got enough going on with people hated him. And I think that's just wrong. Because kind of like with the Last Jedi, people hating on some of the characters, the actors playing, you know, the characters.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I think they did best they could with what they had. It wasn't their fault. It was poorly written and just crap. But, you know, they did that. For that actor, they did a good job, I think. You know, overall, they did a good job. I'm not going to fault the director for making bad choices and the bad, you know, writer who happened to be both at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, you know, we want to see that, you know. So, like, if you're doing a Boba Fett movie or an Obi-Wan movie, show us a guy that sounds and acts a little bit like Obi-Wan, because he's out there. It's not like you can go, well, there was one bad movie, we're gonna, like they did with Captain America. We had one bad Captain America movie. Forget that one. and then have a Captain America movie that's good.
Yeah.
No, with this is you know a lot about that character and the actor because he's been in a lot of stuff.
It's almost sort of like an extension of this with X-Men, Hugh Jackman. Who, if they're going to do some more Wolverine, who are they going to do that replace Hugh Jackman with? Maybe that's an impossible task. I guess we'll find out.
Sometimes, yeah.
But,
I mean, sometimes you can leave it alone.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Because I don't know. It's like when they do what it covers, you know, of the songs.
Yeah.
Like bands do cover songs. Some are as good or even better sometimes than the original, but a lot of them aren't. And so you just got to go, you know what? Let's just don't even try.
And
don't even do it because there's no point.
I just don't think, I think, I don't know if they could have found a better actor or not, but I don't think he was a very good Han Solo. He was not a very good Han Solo as far as being a Harrison Ford Han Solo.
Right.
Towards the end of the movie, it seemed like he had started getting some of the mannerisms down better, but at the beginning of the movie, especially, it just didn't fit.
Well, I think because we've all done a little bit of acting stuff. I mean, nothing like Oscar worthy making lots of money like these guys got thrown at them. But we know when an actor really becomes the character or is trying to act like a character. And I think that's the difference. I think he was trying to act like a certain character. But then, like you said, there were parts you could see where he kind of almost hit it, but it was almost like he either was pleased with himself and started becoming like, oh, I did it.
Right.
And so he came right
And
back.
he lost it.
And he became, the mannequin version of himself or something. And, so every so often, but it's almost like when he finally got into the groove, like you said, and I don't know, maybe it has something to do with, bringing in Ron Howard and
the
acting
coach. Yeah.
So what was bad about it? I thought, first of all, it was too dark. We said,
it was way too dark.
I mean, you're in a dark theater and you're like, I can't see anything. The age of the actor is so close to Harrison Ford when he started. I'm like, maybe get a 20-some-year-old actor to play young Han Solo. That would have been better, I think. The shower scene with Chewbacca and Solo.
Wait a minute now. Hold on now. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's like, what, a shower scene? What? I go, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing that look. I don't know if I want to ask about this or not.
well, you didn't know Chewbacca's taller than Han Solo. I'm just saying.
Oh God.
Wow.
Okay.
So basically, near the beginning-ish of the movie, where they kind of just first met, they're in a battlefield. They're covered in mud and dirt and debris and guts and stuff. Okay. So when they get rescued by the smuggler guys that they run across, and we'll talk about it in a second too. Well, they get brought on board, and they're covered in disgustingness. So they get in the shower, and they both get in the shower apparently. For some reason, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
Han Solo got in the shower first.
Yes.
And then he dropped the soap, and Chewie appeared.
And then
that gives a whole new meaning to the end of the trailer because Chewie puts his arm around him.
And he said, "You look great." The music boring, other than the little snippet bits. The robot very annoying. I mean, so I don't.
That's right. There was a droid in there.
There was like Lando's sidekick or something. I'm like, very annoying. Is fighting for robot rights or something. I'm like, what? That's a thing now or something? Okay, whatever. The dialogue was so bad. Oh my God. We have to. What was the line? We have to reinforce the deflectors on the rear hatch. And the girl's like, we definitely do. That's the dialogue? Really? Okay. What was it? They had a tracker on the ship in the movie. They were tracking them or something. How did that stay on with all the stuff that they crashed into, banged into? The landing gear got ripped off, but the tracker stayed on. That's on the bottom of the ship somehow magically. It was predictable, but we already knew kind of what was going to happen.
Right. It was, again, it kind of goes back to the Clint Eastwoody Western feel. It's like most all these plots. I mean, what's kind of going to happen with it. There were a few little minor twists here and there, but if you just went back to something with some old school Western origins, it's like, oh, it's right here, just right along.
Yeah.
You know, let's have a stagecoach heist, or we're gonna rob a train.
Right.
Geez, that's it. Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Did they actually rob a train in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like a hover train or something, or just
It's
a train?
sort of like a magnet train. It's like riding on this crazy
like a monorail. Okay.
Around this mountain stuff.
It's a train, but it's Star Wars.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I would rather have seen a movie about the crew that before Han Solo joined up, because that seemed like a pretty cool crew.
It did.
They seemed interesting. You had Woody Harrelson's character as the main guy. You had Thandie Newton as his girlfriend's sidekick. There was like an alien guy, pilot or something. He had like forearms or something. He was a little guy or something. And I think that was it, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, hence the Firefly reference, right? It was it was kind of a cool. When everything was all said and done, it was a cool crew, and just about time. Spoilers, but just about time everything got good.
Crap out of this,
man. It's like
they started dying.
Yeah, it's like oh yeah, fun.
Yeah, it's like okay.
Oh, so one of those things because like we don't know we know there's no mention of them in further installments or anything. They just have to. Do they at least die with some kind of meaning, or they just start getting axed off?
Sort of. I mean,
because that's one thing I could say about Rogue One. It's like, okay, I know that these people are going to die, but it's just like, is it meaningful deaths, or are they just kind of getting axed off?
In some ways, I don't want to say it was all like Rogue One, because Rogue One had a nice cast of characters, and I'd say half of them got a good end send off. Another half, it was like that was pointless. Well, it just and that was kind of how I felt with it. It was sort of like they fit the bit part, and right when the character was getting interesting, it was like, okay, plot change, goodbye.
But that's why I say it was predictable. You're like, okay, they're not going to be around much longer. Not because we never heard these characters, it's because you could kind of see that they kind of wrote them that way. They wrote them with a finite thing. It's okay, here's what's going to happen, and they're going to die here. And you can kind of see what's going to. I was like, all right, yeah, she's going to die. I mean, the alien guy, you don't see him around, and I don't know. You're like, I don't know about the alien guy. I said, okay, well, yeah, he's going to die now, you know. And so that's kind of predictable. Darth Maul, really, and it's not just Darth Maul. It's only half of him, obviously, because apparently he's still alive. Because yes, it's through the animated or something, which no one has seen other than maybe you two guys and a bunch of kids. And again, I love this. I love some of the animated stuff. I do. But I'm just like, and it's not just him. They got to show his robot leg. That way, it's like, oh, he's got a robot leg. Unless you blinked and you missed it.
Yep.
And then he goes, I'm going to ignite my double lightsaber. And I'm like,
why?
What does that do? Exactly.
What did he do that for?
Sell a toy. That's what it's going to do. It's going to sell a toy.
He's like, yeah, they got a whole bunch of with Toys R Us out of business now. They got all those back, they got those back orders of those old lightsabers.
Come on, man! It's supposed to be a happy podcast.
No, it was a horrible, miserable experience. Okay, and here's another thing about this movie. There was no real sense of foreboding, or there was no real. I mean, even The Last Jedi had a ticking time feel about it with the chase a little bit. So you had a little bit of urgency.
Longest, slowest chase in film history.
Well, I know, but, and I agree, and it was horrible, and it was excruciating. But at least in that regard, it had some kind of something hanging over it. It's like, oh, there's the fuel on the ships now. They don't have some kind of crazy nuclear reactors, but they don't actually need fuel. No, they actually need fuel. And you're like, and speaking of the fuel thing, Han Solo's a smuggler, and he doesn't smuggle anything he doesn't smuggle, I mean, you don't smuggle guns, you don't smuggle drugs, or any kind of other illegal things. You don't smuggle, stolen robots, or even, slave people, slave aliens, or whatever. No.
Or bitcoins.
No, we're stealing fuel. That's Han Solo is now swaggering because I stole fuel.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. He's
like, whoa, I did the Kessel Run, which I would have rather remembered as something cool that I could think of. What was it? As opposed to saying, okay, it's really boring, and he was literally caught between the Scylla and Charybdis with the giant space thing trying to grab him, and the
20,000 leagues. Yeah.
That's what that was. That's the Scylla and Charybdis right there. He has to go. I got to go between the giant grabby thing and the. And I'm like, apparently now we got Homer's Odyssey going on. It's like, yay. Or something. I'm like, but it wasn't any of those things. It was trying to be, but it just wasn't. It
kind of goes back to for me. They took all the little things that made Han Solo cool in his mythos and tried to explain them away in this story in a cool way that they thought. But at the same time, it's sort of like let that be part of the imagination,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think as long as it was part of the imagination, we each had our own version of how did he do the Kessel Run.
And but not only that, we could talk about it and go, well, hey, this would be cool if you did this. And then no one would be wrong.
Right.
Because it
Exactly.
didn't exist.
Right.
You know, we could go, oh, maybe he got it, you know, maybe he picked the blaster up from a guy who just shot protecting him from trying to get him out of a situation of crime, and he grabs the gun and he runs and he hides, and then he gets mixed up with the wrong crew anyway, and so now he's kind of you know what I mean, so you could do that, but you can't do that now.
I don't know. It's kind of weird because it sounds to me like they were trying to not make him too much of a bad guy. From what you guys are like talking about, it sounds like that. And I kind of saw him like when he first arrived in Star Wars. I'm like, all right, this guy's probably more of an anti-hero in the beginning.
Yep.
So, and you would think that anti-heroes are big in Hollywood now. So you would think they would kind of go that route, especially with him. But
They're playing it safe as Disney.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
Han Solo gets turned into a good guy that wants to be a bad guy but can't. It's almost
Right.
like a Wreck-It Ralph reversal.
okay.
well, and here's the other thing. He's the kind of guy you could bring home to your mom.
Oh, well.
He really is, because he didn't do anything really bad. I mean, yes, he did shoot first in that little shit on the end. Oh, and speaking of that, let's go back a little bit. All right, let me go back a little bit. I'm gonna say it.
No, go for it.
All
Go
right.
for it.
Let's go back a little bit. Now, this is, and I've mentioned this in several movie reviews. Go back and check them. Lazy writing. It's such lazy writing. Everything is so coincidental, happenstance, luck, chance, etc. Instead of meeting somebody, instead of going there to find somebody, no, it happens by chance. So Han Solo and his girl Kira, right, get separated at the beginning. Kira! I'm like, and then he just kind of stands there and no one grabs him because he's screaming and banging on the door, Kira. I'm like, no one sees that? Okay. And then he manages to sneak in out of there, whatever. 3 years later, after being part of the, Empire military, which would have been cool to watch and a cool story to learn more about. No, we're going to fast forward 3 years.
Of course.
And I'm like, that's some cool stuff. It's like, okay, so he started to be a pilot, but he washed out. Why? Was he hot dogging? Was he hot rodding? Was he, did he tick somebody off? Did he crash? I mean, what happened? So now he's a foot soldier. And okay, in the middle of a planetary battle, he happens to run across this crew, Woody Harrelson and Danny Newton's crew.
They just happen to land in the same bomb crater.
Right. They happen to be together. Now, this is when these happenstance again. So he happens to be in the same battlefield, in the same, right next door to these guys. All right. So he happens to do that. So then he happens to get caught, and then they happen to throw him down the shaft, the little mud pit with Chewbacca, who, in my opinion, is not as cuddly as he was, say, later in the later movies, because apparently Chewbacca's been eating the other people that have been thrown down into the pit. So I'm like, so Chewbacca's kind of a jerk, really. I don't want to say any kind of other bad stuff, but I don't like cussing too much. But he's kind of an ass. I mean, you're like, so he's like, I don't care if you're a good guy rebel that was fighting against the Empire. I'm going to eat you because I'm hungry. I'm like, so that makes me like Chewbacca a little bit less.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
he's apparently. Han Solo somehow can speak Wookiee, which again we don't know how. He just sort of does. Yeah,
Took a class.
well, but it's just like the other movies. Like what's her face? Rey can speak Droid and all these other languages. Can speak Wookiee too. They can just speak everything. I'm like, so how did that happen? Don't know. Okay, whatever. So then they get away, and then wait, the guy that happens to find them, that they happens to rescue, and he happens to get caught up with, happened to know his girlfriend in an entire universe. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Not just a universe, a galaxy. Galaxy far, far away.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. He happens to meet this guy on this planet in a battlefield, and he happens to
be working for the same boss that his
girlfriend has just happened to, because we thought, maybe she was dead, or maybe something bad happened to her. Maybe she's sold into slavery. And here's the other thing. You mean to tell me in those 3 years he couldn't have stolen a ship and come back and checked her out? Really? Was he in jail for 3 years?
no idea.
We don't know. I mean,
nobody says.
So the idea that they get separated, and then he spends 3 years, I guess, forgetting about her, drinking. I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows what she's doing. He's in the garbage pits or something, scrubbing, coils or something. So then he happens to meet the guy on the battlefield that he happens to be right next to, and then he happens to get, caught up in this thing. And then when he goes back to the place, oh, guess what? It just happens to be the same girl that he knows from a different planet on the other side of the galaxy. That just doesn't make any sense. There's no...
The Force works in mysterious ways, William.
I'm sure it does.
The obnoxious thing, taking that to the kind of the next step, the obnoxious thing is Han Solo enlists, washes out of the he enlists, he washes out of the pilot training,
Yep.
and ends up somehow he's made enough people mad that he ends up as basically a foot soldier, on some backwater planet.
Yep.
Meanwhile, his girl, when he finally meets her, she has been working for the crime syndicate. She's fluent in hand-to-hand combat.
Yep.
She knows how to do manipulation and language training and negotiation and all this kind of stuff, where when 3 years previously when they left, she was kind of the one that needed the rescuing, right? Because he was the one driving the getaway vehicle.
What in the world happened?
I mean, you would think that they would, sell her on the sex slave market, with the green tentacle girls or something. But no. Apparently they go, well, we're impressed with you. You went to all that trouble and cost us all this money and people died. You know what? You should work for us now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Why not?
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It just didn't make any sense. And like I said earlier, there's no bad guy. You get the one Paul Bettany's character, but he's not really a bad guy.
Is that who he plays? Because I didn't know who Paul Bettany was playing at the time.
Yeah, what's his name? His name is Drayden Voss or something.
Drayden Voss.
And okay, so you got that whole thing, and then
Drayden Voss.
Yeah,
right.
I know. It's like, but there's no sense in this whole movie. It's just a fluff film. It's a cash cow, which apparently, from what I've been seeing on the news recently, well, first of all, it made money, but not apparently as much as they wanted. So
they have not recouped their budget,
right? And so now there's talks of Kathleen Kennedy maybe not being a part of this anymore. If you've been reading the news about that, again, I got no fight against her. I don't know. I mean, if it's her decisions that's making these awful changes, then maybe she's not really getting it. I don't know.
I will say this: if she was responsible for Ryan Johansson, then I do believe that, yeah.
Wow.
And Ryan Johansson,
the director of The Last Jedi.
Oh, Ryan Johnston.
Ryan Johnston.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's how bad this movie is.
Sorry,
people.
Star
I
Wars.
keep telling you, it's so bad. It's making us forget words and sentences and other.
Yep. Exactly. See?
What I would, we'll never know. But I will say this: I don't know if what Ron Howard was given. Right. I've usually been pretty impressed with most of Ron Howard's work. And I would probably be under the impression that if anybody saved it and turned it into what it is now, it might have been him.
Right. And even he was apologizing for it.
Yeah. So if you need to know something about the movie, there you go. That's. But as far as the bad guy, what I would say is that yes, the chief villain was a little bit lackluster, and I feel like it was set up to be with the Darth Maul at the end. How do I put it? As this was a prequel movie to another solo Star Wars story movie where you would more explore a whole nother side of sort of a Sith spinoff kind of thing. It's sort of like
so they were trying to set up a little side,
right? Because the faction he was working for
going.
was Red. Was it Red Sparrow? Red something was the
Sure.
crime. Well, yeah, it was the crime syndicate that they were having to deal with that Voss was apparently the leader of, but he was not the real leader of, kind of. So I think it's been sequel set up. That would be,
they were probably going to do another one, and hopefully they will not, because this was not very good. And here's the other question: at the end of the film, all right, so Woody Harrelson, so they were doing a double cross thing with the smuggled fuel, the contraband,
doing an Ocean's 11 thing.
Yes, so they're doing a double cross, and so then when Woody Harrelson's character figures out and shoots the guards, why didn't he just shoot Drayden Voss? Why didn't he shoot Drayden Voss and fly away in his nice ship? Why didn't he do that? Why would he kill the because he knew the guy would come after him. He kept talking about the whole movie. Well, these guys hunt you down and kill you.
I got you right where I want you.
Why didn't he shoot the guy? He went on about it. He went on. These are the guy, if you can't fail them, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, shoot the henchman, bye. You just spent a whole movie talking about how if you don't do what he says he's going to hunt you down, doesn't matter where you go, he will hunt you down anywhere in the galaxy and find you and kill you. But then he didn't shoot the bat.
So is he still alive? Like by the end of the movie?
No, because then he ends up because there has to be another final battle scene after that. I'm like, so it's like it just didn't make any sense.
It was the Western style double cross,
okay,
kind of thing that was going on, and so that was how it resolved itself. So it was actually a weird triple cross, was kind of how it ended up working out.
But when you're writing a movie, and we've seen enough movies to know how this works, when you say something at the beginning of the movie, that's kind of a foreshadowing thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So then you go, we have to do this, or the guy will kill us and will hunt us down to the ends of the galaxy, and we'll just to make sure people know, hey, if you cross him, he's going to hunt you down no matter what the cost and destroy you and erase you from existence.
You got to have some kind of payoff or something.
You do, but you can't say that and then later not do that, or later go, well, I just won't shoot him because of, I don't know, I just, my gun doesn't feel like it wants to shoot him because it shot twice and it just doesn't feel like doing a third shot or something. I don't know. It's just so. Anyway, I just got
there are holes. There's lots and lots of plot holes. I mean, it just little bits here, little bits there, and I don't know. I will now say this: of the recent Star Wars movies I've seen, I do like Solo better than I did The Last Jedi overall. It was a more fun movie. I mean, it was just a more fun movie.
I laughed because there were some good jokes. Yep. There were some really bad jokes, but there were mostly good jokes, mostly interesting, fun kind of stuff. Yes, yeah, The Last Jedi. I'm like a pick a desk cab again. I'm just for that. So, but yeah.
All right.
If I was to relate this to Pirates of the Caribbean, Last Jedi was sort of like, what is it, the third one at World's End that made absolutely no freaking sense.
Yeah.
And then you had the fourth movie, which was a fun Pirates movie, but it contributed nothing to the overall story of Pirates, and that's Solo.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
where would this rank in your, if you had a list to go by, where would this be? Where would it be above and below? Where would it squeeze in?
Well, kind of like what you said, it's, I mean, if The Last Jedi is sort of rock bottom, and then to me, at least, the Force Awakens would be the next to the rock bottom. Probably Solo would be in front of that one.
Okay.
Just because I mean, like I said, I took my 80-some-year-old dad to see The Force Awakens. He thought it was a horrible movie, and he's in his 80s because he's seen the other movies. We've seen the movies at theaters, and those were enjoyable. And he said it was really loud and it's confusing. I'm like. And this is a guy who has, he's 80. He's got not the greatest hearing. Right. So if he's saying it's loud, and again, it's not necessarily the movie's fault. It's the theater's fault. But and if it's loud and confusing, because it was confusing and made no sense. I'm like, why are these characters in it? Like we talked about. I was like, I don't know. So I think probably
Okay.
This one, there weren't a huge number of characters really.
No, and half the characters were
they died.
They either died or you already knew who they were.
Yeah.
That apparently is a new thing with the Star Wars story. If you don't know who the character is, don't expect to see them live very long.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they're in one of the original trilogies.
Gotcha. So where's the rank in your list? What would you say?
I would probably right now. I'm only going to talk about the Disney era. So I'll put Last Jedi dead last, and then I'll probably put Solo above that, and then I'll probably go Force Awakens, and then probably Rogue One.
Okay,
that probably be as far as true quality of the films. Now that being said, if you're looking for a fun popcorn movie, Force Awakens and what is it? Force Awakens and Solo would probably be the ones I would go to.
Okay.
But now Rogue One is just, I mean, it was a good it was a good film. So
yeah. All right. Sounds good. I'm still going to wait for DVD or
I would
or Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Red box it. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah. I just as time went on, I just didn't have the desire to see it. Just started just decreasing, because the trailer did help. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, oh, I'm actually a little bit interested now. And as as time went on, I was just like, no, not really.
Well, just as a comparison, Infinity War. If you went and did not see Infinity War, you needed to turn off all of your social media,
Exactly.
or else you're going to get bad spoilers. With Solo, there wasn't enough to freaking spoil to have to turn it off.
But there was nothing to spoil.
Right.
really
It's
wasn't.
just, you know.
There wasn't anything in that we didn't already know about the character. And for some reason, it said, hey, let's take these little minor things that you probably didn't even notice, or if you did, you blinked and missed it, or if you didn't, you were like, oh, that's something. And let's create a movie about it, like the dice and the gun and the ship. And, I don't know.
I would, this is going to be kind of a bad analogy, but Mysterious Beasts and Where to Find Them, right? The J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
It's actually a really small book that doesn't have much to do with the movies at all, but they made actually a pretty dang good movie and now movie series based upon that little bit of information.
Okay.
Solo was not that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. So that's unfortunate. Well, you can only. You've got episode 9. Episode 9 is supposed to be next year, isn't it? Supposed to be next December. So
I could not care less.
yeah, it's
really
not
couldn't.
looking. It's not looking good. Marvel. Disney's kind of. They've had their thing going with Marvel, and as like you said, it's almost like they're trying to turn the Star Wars franchise into like the Marvel movies almost, and it just doesn't work that way. Not at least not. I don't know, not the direction that they're going.
I think that it's not that it couldn't be done, and I think it could be excitingly done. I just don't think they're doing it that well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking here at the IMDb page, and they don't have an actual budget for the film, but they give it an estimated $300 million budget.
Ooh boy.
And they said for Solo. And they said the U.S. as of last weekend only grossed about $204 million.
Yeah.
So it's down. Now it says apparently it did a little better overseas. So overseas,
usually.
So
yeah.
the worldwide budget, or the worldwide gross, mind you, of last week was $356.5 million. So you got about 356.5.
That's what they were. I was reading something about it. It was 250 to make it, but that does not count any of the marketing, and that's where they're really losing their.
So they're maybe barely breaking even, but maybe not. I mean, again, they don't give us the actual numbers. Plus, you're talking a gross, not necessarily the net stuff. So it's like you can actually talk about quite a bit of a loss. And I'm not surprised. I mean, is anybody really surprised?
No. Because
I think everybody was like, well, why aren't they do, a different character we don't know much about, like Lando Calrissian or Boba Fett or something like that? I mean,
I know a lot of people that would be excited about a Boba Fett movie.
Because you don't know anything about the character enough. His kid's got a cool ship. He worked for Jabba the Hutt, but then again, he also worked for the Empire. So he just works for whoever hires him, and that's fine. Didn't say much, but that's okay.
Yeah, they go into.
And you don't know what the guy looks like. I mean, other than he's a clone guy, but you could get a guy, an actor that looks sort of like that.
Yeah,
Younger guy
definitely.
looks
I mean, his likeness was based off of some, because he's in the Clone Wars series, but he's only a kid.
Yep.
So, but I'm sure that likeness was based off of somebody, so they could probably get somebody to play him or whatever. And I do know that he does show up again in Rebels. He does show up again. Okay. Yeah, I do. I haven't seen it, but I do know that he shows up again in there. But I don't know if he shows up, adult. Is there a time in period that is just skipped over or whatever, and he's already in his bounty hunter form or whatever. So I don't know. Like I said, excitement just started to go down, and it's unfortunate because most people didn't really care for The Last Jedi.
Yeah, this is
and you're coming off the heels of that. You're just like, okay, you got to at least give the people something.
This is 2 burners in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, just really two burners in a row.
Yeah, so you got to step up your game, Disney. You got to step up your game. So.
Marvel's working for them.
Right.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, especially now they had 2 big ones, because Black Panther was making all the money until Infinity War came out, and it barely just passed. It barely passed Black Panther. I mean, it's doing really well now, but I think within 5 months, it was only like maybe a few 100,000 more in like worldwide and everything. So I was like, wow. So, but yeah, they're making all the money with those now. And then they got Batman and the Wasp coming out here in pretty shortly.
Well,
Is it next week?
The thing, we'll hit on Incredibles too, but that's Pixar, and then also Disney Animation. They've been coming out with some good stuff too. Disney knows what the freaking they're doing, and there's plenty of people for them in corporate wide to talk to. I think they need to start having some conversations.
Yes, definitely. All right, so we're going to switch gears here for a little bit, and we're going to talk about Deadpool 2. So we'll try not to spoil it too much. I mean, then again, I don't think that there's much to spoil in the movie. There's a few characters in there that show up, but it's not like...
The way I look at it is anything that you spoil is just probably going to let me pay attention to the comedy more. So I'm not too worried about it.
I would say it's actually less funnier than the first one, and that's by design. Yeah. I think so. Anyway, but yeah, that's by design. So we're gonna take
this one was much more emotional.
Yes.
Than the first one. Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get right into Deadpool 2.
Yep.
All right, guys, we are back. Now we're going to talk about some Deadpool 2. So we're going in chronological order. So went through Solo, the Star Wars movie first, and now we're going to get into Deadpool 2. And so the first question that everyone's really going to ask, is it as good as the first one? What do you think? You think it's as good as the first one?
Yes and no. I mean, parts of it were, parts of it weren't. You know?
Okay.
Was it as funny as the first one? Probably not, but I think that's an issue of, you don't know what to expect in the first one. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like taking a trip. You're like, you're not sure how long it takes to get there, but you enjoy it. And then you go take the trip again. You're like, yeah, that was faster than I thought it was. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was more scenic than that. Mm-hmm. But you're so excited about going somewhere, you don't really notice it. It's like you're sort of like, oh, what's this and what's going on? And
yeah, because Deadpool, in a way, it was kind of revolutionary when it came out.
Yeah,
because they never really done anything like that, and we knew that the studios had a lot of reservations about doing something like this, and doing an R-rated, for some reason, doing an R-rated comic book movie. I don't know why that was a problem, but now we've got a couple of them out now, but
yeah.
But yeah,
well, they probably thought, oh, well, it's not going to do it, and it's like, oh, it's not going to do well.
Yeah, they're trying to okay, we got to get butts in seats and stuff like that. So we got to make it PG-13. You get more people to go see it and everything. But my thing is it's Deadpool. If people are fans of the comics and they're going to go see Deadpool. They'll figure out a way to see it. Yep. Whether their parents got to go with them or they just sneak in. I'm pretty sure a lot of people snuck in, or just people in the movie theaters didn't even care. So, my opinion, I'd say it's pretty close to being as good as the first one.
Mm-hmm. Well, in some ways it is, in some ways it's not.
Yeah. It's Deadpool. Like Ryan Reynolds is just as funny in this one as he is in the first one, but there's not an overabundance of humor in this one as there is in the other one, but I almost think most of that is by design. Because there's a lot.
This one's a heavier movie, though.
Yeah,
it's a heavier movie.
Yeah,
it's a sadder and heavier movie.
Yes, and they don't really skimp on the sad parts of it. Like when something's going down.
It's pretty. You're like, oh man, that really sucks.
Yeah, when stuff starts to go down, there's genuine emotion there.
Yeah.
And everything. It's not just
and that's pretty good to be a Marvel kind of popcorn kind of goofy movie. They're like, wow, that's pretty deep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
are we talking like Logan deep?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah. In
some of them,
because he's basically he's more or less searching his soul, I would think.
Yeah,
in some respect.
Yeah,
which is kind of what Logan was sort of trying to figure out. Where in the Logan movies, well, I mean, certainly Logan has a lot more weight on his shoulders for the whole thing with everything with Dresser and the kid and everything. Mm-hmm. But to some extent, yeah, I mean, as much as you can get in this movie, he's doing soul searching, and and kind of trying to figure out where he fits and where he belongs, sort of.
Yes.
But it's not done in a, I don't know. It's not done in a preachy weird way. It's a little weird. But
it's just
Deadpool,
the context of the movie. It just really
Yeah.
just kind of brings that out
Right.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of it. Just because I'm a big I feel like I'm harder on most comedies than some people are. Like for me, comedy, it's like I go in there. I was just like, you better be funny. And but there's also
But we
like
do comedy, so we know. We know it's like it's like when we do improv stuff, and I've seen other comedians and they cuss a lot, and that's fine. I personally don't think it's funny to cuss necessarily. I mean, sometimes it is. I mean, I watch Australian dash cams and listen to them cuss because it's the accent that makes it funnier. But if you say a bad word, they go, oh, but then if you say the bad word again, it's like, oh,
yeah,
and you say it again, like, so you always have to top any comedy. You have to top it,
and that shouldn't be the joke necessarily.
Yeah. Now
now it's kind of weird to say that because in the first one there were cases where that was the joke,
Right.
but that was the thing. Like it was almost like it was a meta joke because how movies always try to dial back.
Finish fucking her the fuck up!
Language, please.
Suck a cock!
You have jokes in there and everything like that, but just, when you just say like, oh, I said F this or whatever, or I said cock, I said balls. I'm just like, no, that's not the case here or whatever. They actually do try to progress what they've done in a little bit and everything. One of the things I did like, and I don't know, I felt like a few people may have missed this, and I don't know how you felt about it, but what's one of the major problems with sequels, and you said it earlier. You said it earlier with Solo. One of the major problems that people will have, I mean, movies in general, but it's usually sequels. Sequels have the worst of this, and it's usually they get lazy with writing. And that's an ongoing joke, actually, in this movie. And that Deadpool, of course, he's going to point it out and everything. Right. It's just like, oh, it just happens to like the villain, or quote unquote the villain, the bad guy and the good guy all have to work together. And he's just like, okay, that's just lazy.
Was that fourth wall breaking?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's one issue I had. This movie did it way too much.
It did a lot. It did a lot. Yeah. Like, more than the first one did.
Yeah.
So like he talked to us probably a little bit too much because there's a level of like, okay, you could do that to where it's funny when you do it, or you could do it to where like, okay, now it's taking me out of the movie altogether.
Right.
So it kind of the one thing I'll say, he never did it at a moment where it was like serious emotion going on.
No,
and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Because that's my big thing. Like, don't undercut something that's really emotional or really intense or something like that with a joke. Because if you immediately break that tension, that takes me out of it altogether. And I'm just like, all right, you don't care anymore.
But that's I think what a good film does in general. It's like you're having that moment in a silly movie like this is, and then he has some seriously deep emotions. You're like, I thought this was a silly Marvel movie. And you're like, I'm going to start, where's my tissue? He's like, where's my tissue? I'm not crying, you're crying.
They Pixar'd a Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was some foreshadowing. Again, what a good movie does is like he's trying to, they set him up. It's like, okay, hey, they're going to, what he's an assassin. That's what he's doing. Apparently, everybody's fine with that. And he doesn't kill a guy. And then you go, okay, that's going to come back. And it comes back.
It does.
And it comes back in a big, heavy way. Are we going to spoil it or no? Someone close to him dies.
Yeah.
And
that's
he
all
has some, and he has some, he goes through some soul searching and trying to figure out, and the whole thing like that. So
it is one of those things. If you are paying attention to the trailers, you can kind of figure that out.
And it's not a quick fix. It actually takes a while for him to figure out. And then, and I mean, I guess overall, it's like, okay, so the assassin realizes the value of human life, maybe, or something.
Yeah. And the assassin. Yeah. Well, there's two people that actually kind of realize that, because Deadpool kind of realizes that,
right?
But also the character of Cable, because Cable comes back in time to kill someone who's killed his family,
right,
or whatever. And at this current point in time, that person is just a kid, hasn't done anything yet. But it's one of those things. Like it's like there's actually some genuine emotion there. I'm like, oh, okay, I get that and everything. I will say the character of Cable is, I don't know. Like there was moments I'm like, he is really cool. And then there's moments where I'm just like, he is extremely cheesy.
Right.
So,
yeah.
There is a fine line between,
it was I couldn't really like put my like, do I really like this character, or is it just like, all right, come on now. And I will say this, I think that the character Josh Brolin and Ryan Reynolds, I think they bounce off each other really well.
Yeah.
And even some of like the fight scenes and everything like that they have are really cool. But like I said, there's moments where I'm just like, all right, this is a little bit much. But I think my favorite character overall is actually Domino.
Yes. Oh yeah.
She has some of the, and you've seen, like, if you've seen the trailers, you've seen some of like the action sequences and everything like that. The trailers do not do that justice.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, I somehow I avoided all the trailers. I think because there was moments when, I was either waiting for you, I was waiting for Anthony or something like that during like one of our movie get-togethers and everything, and I would be outside, so I kind of missed the previews and stuff like that. So I think that kind of attributed to me missing trailers for Deadpool. I didn't see any before the movie. I went, because usually I'll go out my way to see some after the movie and everything. I'm just like, okay, what did the trailers actually do? Did they reveal too much? In this case, they didn't. But I would say like I said, there's a part that we didn't really hint on. We said like if you're paying attention to the trailers, you can kind of pick that up. Just kind of like with Logan, you can kind of, if you're paying attention to the trailer, you can kind of gather that Xavier is going to pass in that movie. So I was like, okay, yeah, you can see that. This one, I think they did what a trailer should do. Now, I haven't seen the first one. The first one's the only one I haven't seen. I've only seen the second one when they had all the characters of Domino. But there was the first one when, like, quote unquote, Deadpool was actually getting mad because like there were certain shots that weren't finished, like the CGI wasn't done and stuff like that.
The action figure.
Yeah.
Like regeneration powers activate. You don't see that. It's like.
Yeah, so I haven't seen that one in its entirety and everything, but I've seen like little pictures from it and everything. But Domino, oh my gosh, like her powers or powers of luck, whatever, the trailers don't do that justice. That is one of the coolest things that I have seen.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like it's one of those. If you've ever seen, we've all seen X2, right? X-Men 2, and we've seen the opening scene with Nightcrawler. That is one of the coolest action sequences in that whole series, or in a comic book series in general. That's one of the coolest ones. And you don't like, even I've read comics for years, and that is never something that I just really expect. It's like, okay, yeah, he teleports. Yeah, I was like, okay, teleports. All right, that's cool and everything. You don't see no one's been that imaginative with it.
Right.
Even on drawn paper, animated paper, cartoons have had him in it. No one has been that level of imaginative with it. That's what I would say about Domino. It's like they took it. I was just like, okay, what can we really do with this? Right. So that I think they did really, really good with that. I don't know. Who's your favorite character? Who do you think?
Domino.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Domino for other reasons.
Yeah. Well, it's good, but it's good to see a female character that kind of isn't like. I mean, that isn't like, oh, help me or something. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, Negasonic teenage warhead, mutant girl, whatever, who's Justin Bieber or something, as he says in that thing. Hey, Justin Bieber. Is okay, but you didn't see them long enough to kind of think. So it's good to see strong women doing stuff. It's not a social justice warrior thing.
Nope.
It's like you want to see, somebody cool. Yeah. It doesn't matter who they are. I mean,
exactly. Competency.
Yeah.
You just want to see competency.
Right. I mean, like in the X-Men animated series, I think we all loved Rogue because she was, kick butt.
Yeah.
And then, and Jean Grey, because she kicked butt in her own way. I mean,
Jubilee was usually the annoying one because, like, you always got to rescue her and everything.
Right,
like, come on, man.
Exactly. So it's good to see that because, I mean, I don't know. It's just cool because if you're gonna have a superhero group, you got to make sure they all can take care of themselves. Because if not, then you're always rescuing the weakest member, and that's not really helping you.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly.
So you don't want that, and you don't. I don't know.
What was the guy's name? The one that everyone seems to love. What's his name? Steve.
Oh,
the mustache.
Yeah, hang on. I was looking up something here in the movie. Yeah, what was his name? Hang on, I'll pull it real quick here.
Yeah, so I'm looking
yeah.
up.
So the dude who's part of X-Force.
X-Force. Yeah. Peter. That's right. Yeah. Everyone loves Peter.
Yeah. Right.
Like he literally comes in. I don't know if this is in the trailers or not, but like he literally comes in and because they put out an ad.
Yeah, it was in one of the trailers.
It was in one of the trailers. Okay.
What's your superpower? He's like, I just saw it on Craigslist. He goes, you're in.
And then like and it's again not a spoiler, but the taxi driver wants to be a mercenary.
Right. He wants to be
an assassin.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's in there for that whole scene.
And he throws down the can of drinks or something. Because like, son, I get it. Yeah.
But I will say this: the taxi driver does have his moment.
Yes, he does.
He has his moment.
He does,
and it's pretty glorious. Or whatever. It's pretty glorious.
His name is Dopinder. They have his name is Dopinder.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know his name. I've seen him in other
Taxi
movies.
driver guy.
Yeah, I've seen him in other movies. I think I would ever. Yeah, I never actually knew his name. Same thing with Peter. I've seen Peter in a lot of comedies,
right,
but never actually knew the guy's name or anything. Terry Crews is there. Terry Crews is kind of fun. Terry Crews is always fun.
Right.
Every time you bring him in there.
And the Vanisher.
Oh gosh. Now that's a spoiler. I'm not going to reveal who that actually is.
Yeah, go see the movie. It's funny. You got to look right at the end after they jump from the plane. You got to look at the real quick because you'll see who the Vanisher is. And he has credits, so it's not like it's a secret. So if you go to IMDb, you can find who the Vanisher is. But it's just kind of because you never see him because he's invisible.
Yes. Yeah,
so,
and there's actually a pretty funny scene where it's just like the Vanisher. Oh, I get it. He's doing his vanishing thing, and then there's like you don't hear anything. You're just like, he might have forgot to come or whatever. Or like he might be at the wrong building. Yeah. He's like, I think he's actually here. But X-Force was kind of cool. I will admit that. I like that they brought the actual X-Force title into it and everything. I thought that's pretty neat. There's a lot of jokes for the comic fan. Comic fan, if you've been paying attention to either the comic movies or just comics in general, there's a lot of little head nods, a little Easter egg moments in there that it's all for you. The way I would kind of say that this movie is truly for the fans. I would say that more so than the first one. The first one was he did this for he wanted to do this. It was a passion project. This one is kind of more for your fans and everything.
Yeah, but like you were saying, I mean, there was great emotion and the music. The music was really good. The music was spot on. The music to me in this movie was like the first Guardians. The music was perfect. They did rap music. They did Barbra Streisand music. They did Annie. You know? I mean, they did all kinds of they did all kinds of crazy stuff. The jokes were great. The James Bond opening was great.
Yes, they have a really cool James Bond opening.
Yeah, and they kind of cross it over. It's not just James Bond. The main theme of it is a James Bond, but they throw in other movie references in there.
Right.
Because that's what you gotta do.
Right.
I mean, what was it in the movie itself? There was an Omen reference, and then there was the Say Anything, which they might have shown on some of the previews where he's holding the little phone as the boombox, outside of the things. But like you said, there were too many asides. The ending part was too long.
It drug.
There's a couple. Yeah, you don't want to. I don't know.
I gotta put blame on the editor there. I mean, because all right, you're filming. You're just saying okay, just go. You tell the actor, this is an improv, just go.
Right.
And usually you'll keep some of the best scenes and stuff like that, and you'll cut it short and everything. They didn't really do that here.
No.
They just kind of was
they went on. We're like, and it was an emotional scene, and then it was like, oh, it's going now, because then that kind of get to the point where not in a comical way, but it's a very absurd way to where it's like, okay, you were going with an emotion that you were you hit pretty close, and early on you hit square on. But then it kept going on, kind of like the Family Guy, which is now, okay, it's not funny anymore. It's not sad anymore. It's just really annoying. Some of the jokes they did in this movie, like in the first movie when he lost his hand, the baby hand. Well, this one you had that kind of sort of thing, which was, again, was drug on too long. It was absurd. A lot of people are going to go, hey, talk about it was funny. I'm like, yeah, but that's the same, though.
Yeah.
You need to do something different.
Yeah.
I mean, or if you're going to do it real quick as like an homage. You tipped your hat and then move on.
Yeah, there
Don't
you go.
drag it out and you go, okay. And then this other mess when he's walking around. I'm like, really? Come on.
Oh, okay. I
You
got you. I
know.
know what you're talking about.
The people next to us enjoyed that scene extremely because they were cracking up. They were just dying over. They were sitting right next, one seat over from me or whatever. It's a couple, I think they were, but they were just having.
Well, I mean,
great old
but
time
that's
with
the
that.
thing. If you're not, but we're movie reviewers. We gotta nitpick it just to say if not, just it's like don't waste your time watching us. Go see a movie. I hope they didn't just.
Just click away.
I hope all your 20 followers didn't just go, oh yeah, you good idea. Sorry about that. But that's the thing, as a movie, critic, even though we're not a national critic,
We're not critics.
We got to critique it.
Yeah, and I mean that's just one of my things though. Like personally, and I think it's yours as well. It's just like when jokes run on a little bit too long,
It's just not funny.
It's not funny anymore. It's,
funny
just like
anymore.
okay,
Well,
I get
That's
it.
the Family Guy thing, which okay, the first time is okay, but then you do it 5 more times. It's just like you're wasting my
For
time.
me, it's like watching a lot of Will Ferrell movies or Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy, especially, she's known for telling basically the same joke throughout all of her movies are almost the exact same in that way. And yeah, you kind of have to freshen it up a little bit, or the homage, and then take it somewhere new. I think that's a good way of
And it's not saying like you can't go bigger because like
but
okay,
then go bigger. Don't
they went,
drag it.
Yes,
Dragging is different.
Yeah, it's like okay, they did go bigger with it, but like you said, it just kept going, and it was just like to where it's like, all right, this really isn't funny anymore, So that's just one of the things. That's a pet peeve of mine or whatever when jokes run on just a little bit too long. I had the same problem with the Guardians movie, Guardians 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They just ran
But
on.
that's the thing about building the comedy thing is you do something, you make it more absurd and bigger, and then really absurd and bigger, and then something else is going to happen, which kind of changes it, and then you kind of come and reset and do something else. But if it drags out, it's the opposite. You're taking, if it's an emotion or a joke that is good, you're actually killing it. If it's an emotion, you want people to linger in that emotion.
Right.
You don't want to keep dragging it out and kind of go, okay, I'm not sad anymore. Now I'm kind of annoyed or uncomfortable or just feeling weird.
For Guardians 2, when I think back on some of those humorous points where they pause too much, I almost felt like somebody needed to hit the laugh track button. That was like the way it was designed. It's
Exactly.
like laugh track here, but instead all you have is silence. And it's
It's awkward when
It's
that
awkward.
happens. Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people riff on Adam Sandler and his movies and stuff like that, but that is a major thing that I have a problem with some of his movies. It's just like there's just that say something quote unquote that's funny, but then they just like pause. I'm like, all right.
So here's the movie references. Can I just? I'm just gonna hit them real quick.
Sure.
The names. So in the movie Deadpool 2, they threw all these references in some way, shape, or form. And so if you watch it, you'll catch most of them. Some of them I didn't catch. I was like, really? Okay. So yeah, The Wizard of Oz, Bambi, The Executioner, which I never heard of, The Muppet Show, Winnie the Pooh, very Star Wars, Puff the Magic Dragon, Superman, the original.
The Magic Dragon.
Well, there's like a Puff stuffed animal or something.
Okay.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, as an homage when he's running the distance to the car with all people chasing. The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. Yeah.
that was an awesome trailer.
Yeah, the Flash Dance, Yentl, which again we mentioned the Barbra Streisand. Spinal Tap because the Cable's gun goes up to 11.
Right.
Which is funny. Karate Kid, sweep the leg, Johnny. He says, which is funny. Terminator, Goonies. He mentions the one-eyed Willie thing. RoboCop, Batman. I'm Batman, right?
Yes.
The Terminator 2, Basic Instinct with the leg cross, which again was ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous. Lion King, Ace Ventura. That was kind of funny. Interview with the Vampire because they mentioned something about that with what's her name? No, it was an Interview with the Vampire. No, it's an Interview with the Vampire. The Matrix. Felicity. Wonderful World of Disney.
What?
Yeah, I'm like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Passion of the Christ. He mentions that.
Yes.
Which is really strange. That was really weird. That was really weird. I'm like, what in the world? Time Traveler's Wife, The Human Centipede, which is disgusting. Do not Google that. Do not Google that. And if you do, don't come back.
How many sequels are there of that movie now?
Two, I think.
Yeah,
I don't.
Something.
Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. My Little Pony, when he mentioned the girl's hair.
Yeah.
Saw 3D, The Green Lantern. The
of course.
Scenes. Stay for the end credits. Are great, right?
Yeah.
Avengers, Les Miserables, Sharknado. He mentions that. Frozen, Captain America, Winter Soldier, John Wick. That's kind of it says one of the guys who killed the dog or something.
Right. Yeah.
Batman v Superman. His name was Martha. His mom was Martha. Too. Logan, Justice League, Black Panther. He calls him Brown Panther.
Right.
And Infinity Wars, Cable. He calls him Thanos a few times. So those are all the kind of movie references. And like I said, there was also
he actually did that.
He called him Thanos. Back it up, Thanos.
Yeah.
There's also an Omen moment when the weather vane come and sticks him, because that's from the Omen movies. So they didn't mention that, but that's something interesting. I was like, that's great.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
more. Yeah.
They had to say anything with the thing. They didn't mention that. They didn't mention that. So yeah, there's a lot
John
more.
Cusack.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So here's the thing. We talk about Solo, how much money it did not make. Well, here's the budget for Deadpool. They supposedly estimated. They said was $110 million, which again I just can't even imagine, but it made 125 on this weekend. So it made the money back and some more. And it's, as of last week, it tripled its money.
So it costs a third as much to make and it
made it back that weekend.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah.
And it's made 3 times more than that.
Yeah.
It's actually made more. And that's just the United States. It's made more than the Solo movie has
overseas.
Almost worldwide. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now worldwide.
Oh gosh.
Worldwide, it's doubled the money that Han Solo made overseas worldwide.
Wow.
It's like $700+ million.
Wow.
You're like, whoa. So
this is for a rated
there you
R
go.
movie.
That's for a rated R
movie.
And those are
silly,
usually
goofy
not
Marvel
as
movie.
And it's I don't know. It's kind of weird that it would do so well, because like there's all these overseas. America, yes, I would definitely get England.
I think
that,
Deadpool overseas is a little strange to make that much extra money overseas. The Solo movie I can kind of see a little bit because it's an iconic character.
Yeah,
but this,
I mean, like I said, America, England, Australia. Okay, I can kind of get that, but some of the other countries,
like
I'm like,
somewhere.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, like that's making all the money now. So,
Yep.
So, but I don't know. Like I said, I think it's pretty close to being as good as the first one was.
Right. Some ways it was, some ways it wasn't.
Some way, yeah.
It certainly had more emotion than the first one.
Right.
So that in that regard, they
and I think that's a good thing. Like you kind of have to go a different route and everything. And that's the one thing I was really worried about was like you can't really recapture that magic that you did with the first one. Because the first one was just like, all right, we're going to come in and we're going to do this character right. We're going to have this, that, and everything. So I'm like, everything just kind of fell into place with that one. With this one, I'm like, yeah, you can call back to some repeat jokes or whatever, the credits, the opening credits, stuff like that. But, it's one of those things like, yeah, I saw it, the first one. I'm like, okay, it's nice, but you're not going to laugh as much as you did on the first viewing of that and everything. So it's like I was a little bit worried when I saw the credits and how they were, but they did have the Bond opening.
Right, the Bond opening, okay, and they had a few like a flash dance with the bullet. Scenes. They had a few others thrown in there as well, but it was a Bond style opening, which I thought was great, which I did think was great, and it was so well done.
I didn't even after a while I wasn't even paying attention to who's name was popping up,
but it wasn't any actual.
Yeah, it wasn't actual names.
Yeah, it was just kind of silliness, which was funny. But you didn't really notice that because the visual was so great. The colors and
I love it when they
the
do good stuff
guns
like
and the
that.
knives and all that stuff was great. And then the bullet thing with the flash dance. And
You had to do something different. You had to, and it was like that's one thing I was worried about. I'm like, I don't know if you could. I don't know about a second one. I was kind of apprehensive about it or whatever.
But see, the thing is, like the writing with this movie, it wasn't. I mean, there was some lazy writing, like he said, in terms of the movie thing. But at the same time, there wasn't actual. It was actually pretty good because overall, remember, the issue is of, Deadpool, Wade's character, coming to terms with loss and trying to make things right as best he can and try to figure out where he fits in the world. And, even though he's doing it his own way,
right,
which is okay, right? You're doing it your own way. But the flashbacks he keeps having, saying, his heart's got to be in the right place. And the fact that he and his girlfriend, talked about having children and then now he has to save this kid. So that's good writing because then he has to come to terms with that and kind of go, well, what will he do in order to save this kid's life?
Right.
And so you're like, wow, okay. Now I do have one thing to ask you though.
What's that?
So, all right. So in the movie, he goes to that Max facility with the neck collars on and stuff, right? So he can grow back his hand. He can grow back his lower body.
He can grow back anything.
But he can't. Apparently, his body won't cure the cancer that's inside of him.
It accelerated the cancer. Like when they actually
that's why he looks as ugly as he does.
Why is as bad as like that's why he looks that way. Like
Put
when
him
they
So he's
did that
basically
procedure to
full
him.
of cancer.
Yes. He is literally a walking
Because I'm
cancer.
like, wait a minute. If he can regenerate all this stuff and basically not die, so why is the cancer not cured?
Yeah,
That's the thing I'm kind of having a hard
Was
time.
it an oxygen deprivation tank or something? Do they put him in because when they suck the air out and he?
And then because they were trying to awaken his dormant mutation or whatever.
But I get all that. What I'm trying to say is, why won't that heal? If everything else, I mean, literally, his lower half of his body can be ripped off and he can grow that back. Why not the cancer?
It's a weird thing with his abilities or whatever because it's technically the cancer is part of the reason why he can grow that back because of the accelerated tissue.
Because cancer tissue can grow quickly.
Yes,
sometimes.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see that. I kind of work with that. I can kind of work with that because I thought it was strange. I was like, so he puts the collar on and he starts dying from the cancer. Wouldn't his body have healed, cured the cancer by now, or his cells have grown back? Not the non-cancerous ones would have grown back because that would be healthy tissue. I don't know, but I can kind of buy that. Bit.
I get it.
I can kind of buy that a little bit.
It's a little iffy.
Yeah, I'm like
on that one.
Because I thought, why is he dying? Because they put the collar on him to suppress his abilities, and all of a sudden he's dying from cancer. And I'm like, why isn't he cured from cancer? Because his ability is to cure and grow and heal. So that's a little weird. I thought.
It's just one of those things. Like the cancer is both at the same time. Like it's one of those things. Like he's in excruciating pain technically all the time because the cancer is still there. It's both killing him and helping him at the same time.
Sort of like the poison in Logan's body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can only. I don't even want to imagine what either of those two characters are going through because he's walking. Like I said, he's walking around. He's literally a living cancer,
right?
And Logan's walking around with metal attached to his bones and welded to his bones and everything. So he's hundreds of pounds heavier.
Welded, like
he's melted. Yes,
yeah, it's infused.
It's just like I can only imagine.
And every time he extends his claws, he has to
rips the skin.
Yep.
That's one thing I'm just like, man.
That's the sucky part of being a superhero. They don't talk about that.
Yeah, I was like, look, they are cool, but I do not want either of those power abilities or whatever. So, but yeah, I think you would enjoy it if you went to go see it. You would enjoy it.
Okay.
Well, we definitely want to see more Domino on the Deadpool 3.
Yes.
Well,
if they make
or
Deadpool 3. But yeah, they definitely need to bring Domino back.
Yeah. No, I mean, she was just a great character.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of wish I'd seen more of the X Force a little bit because they went all that trouble to kind of put them together, and also it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. they had other movies to do.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot. Unfortunately, I mean, no spoilers or anything, but unfortunately, those are kind of they're kind of cameos in a sense.
Yeah.
So they're instead of
And there's nothing wrong with a good cameo.
Yeah.
I mean, it can add a little something. You know?
Yeah. But Domino sticks around. I think they knew what they had with Domino. So, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good job there. Good job.
Yeah, that luck power.
Yeah.
That was like, holy, that's really cool.
There's no such thing as the power of luck. Like, yes, there
Yes,
is.
there is. Yes, there is. I mean, literally everything happens just perfectly.
Yes.
I mean, like the car flips and she stops and it flips over her and the whole thing. It's so funny. I mean, it's just, I'm not, you haven't seen it.
No?
Right. I'm just saying just the way things happen. It's just really, you're like, oh, that's really cool. And there's some other stuff that happened. You're like, that's really cool.
It's coincidence, but done in the right way.
It is. You're like, it's
Because
like
that makes sense for this to be a coincidence right now.
yes,
so.
exactly. It's not one of those
Well,
happenstances.
isn't that luck?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that was
'Cause it's
lucky.
luck. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. There's a great show, if y'all have not seen it, the YouTube world. It's called Red Dwarf from the British BBC. Red Dwarf, you've seen that? It's a great sci-fi comedy. It was made starting in the late 80s. So, but they're still making, much older crew now, but they're still making the same people. But there was an episode where the guy finds a luck virus and he takes the luck virus and all these lucky things. Like he's able to find the key code to get to the door. I was lucky. We're looking for this special thing. You mean something like that? He goes, that was amazing. He's like, so there's, that's a great show. If you've not seen Red Dwarf, check it out on YouTube.
Yes, it's on YouTube.
Yep.
You can watch it.
Very funny.
Some of them you have to pay for, but most of them you can just kind of.
Yeah, most of them are free. You might can find them on some of the other, maybe Hulu. I think Netflix had them on for a while, but took it off. You can even catch it on PBS sometimes for free too. They used to run them on PBS a lot, so they might still have them on there too.
Yeah, because
You get a chance to watch it; it's very fun.
That's where I used to catch all the BBC stuff.
Yeah.
It was on PBS, Blackadder, Mr.
You might can catch it on BBC America late night too. Kind of depends. But anyway, it's a great show. It's funny. It does stuff. It talks about science fiction. They kind of cross all the science fiction genres. And they do things just totally absurd. I remember there was a video of Patrick Stewart talking about he was in London watching a show. Then that show came on, and they started doing something. He goes, "I was getting ready to call the lawyers at Paramount for Gene Roddenberry's lawyers." He says when he had to sue the show because they were copying Star Trek, and he said then they did something so un-Star Trek that he just made the biggest belly laugh, and he just put the phone down. He says, "I get it." So it was a send up of all the science fiction shows, and it kind of crosses all over them. It's just absurd. It's funny. The first season, second season aren't the greatest. There's some good episodes. It really gets great in the third season on.
Once
They
the
got
once the chemistry
Yeah,
comes together.
the budget picks up too because it's like the old Star Trek series. It's like everything was cardboard, and panel board sets. And same thing in this. And so the second and third after that, they got a lot more budget money. So, and then they were able to do more computer stuff. So, but remember, it started in the late 80s. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, thoughts on Deadpool 2? Go see it if you haven't already.
Yes.
It's pretty good. So far we have a definitely go see it, and we have one that's just kind of like, yeah, you can wait for it to come out,
Or
wait
just,
for home
or just,
release.
or
Just
just,
don't even-
or just take the magic mushroom and wake up and forget you ever saw it in the first place.
All right, so our next movie and final movie for this video, is going to be our review of The Incredibles Part 2. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the final movie of this video, of this review, and we're here to talk about...
Talk about this one?
Yes. We're talking about Keeping It Real, I Squared. Wait, is it I Keep It Real? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I Keep It Real.
Well, it
Cool.
should say just keeping it real.
Yeah.
That would be funnier. Sorry, but just keep it real.
Yes, we're here to talk about The Incredibles Part 2, the movie that was 14 years in the making. And they let you know that it was 14 years in the making. There's a little funny thing because Trae and I had went to see it. There's a little funny thing in the beginning. I don't know if it's shown in all theaters, but it was shown in ours. But basically, the actors, Samuel L. Jackson, Helen Hunt, Craig T. Nelson, and other people are just talking about like, it takes time to make these movies. How you were waiting a long time, but it just takes a long time to make these movies. You have to write them, you have to animate them and everything. And then, Trae and I are just like, you made 3 Cars movies. There is no excuse. You have no excuse. You're just not even helping your cause right now.
Did somebody say that on screen, or did you guys just mention it?
No, we just mentioned it. Yeah, it was just like, you made 3 of these movies or whatever. I'm like, there's no excuse. Yeah.
There's no excuse.
But like I said, 14 years in the waiting for this movie. To be perfectly honest, I never thought it would happen. I saw the first one, and after I think 5 years had passed, I was waiting.
They left it at such a point where it was like needs sequel.
Yes.
And nothing.
Yeah. Then I think after 5-6 years or whatever, I was just like, all right, whatever. I'm still going to enjoy the original, but I'm just like, all right, whatever. They're not going to make it. Then I hear that they are making it. And for me personally, I don't know how you guys are, but I have a real problem with some certain sequels that come out much later on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes you just, to get the people, they're way too far removed from it and everything. They're from the franchise and they just don't, you have movies like Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, all right, you can really tell, all right, you guys are kind of, Harrison Ford still kind of pulling it off, but the movie, Steven Spielberg was like, y'all just aren't there. Lucas, you just aren't there.
Most movies, after 14 years, they don't make a sequel, they make a reboot.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. But then, you have other cases like Rocky. Because when they came back with Rocky Balboa, I was like, oh, okay. That was actually really good. And Creed was really good.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it can still work. Saw the trailer. I was like, it's okay. I only saw the one. I know there's 3 of them out there, but I only saw the one. I was like, looks like it's going to be okay. And I think we were talking earlier, like you said, it kind of focuses a little bit more on the comedy. And, it kind of gives you the feel like it's going to be, okay, mom's out there getting into work, and dad's, daddy daycare for a little bit.
Yeah.
Was it Mr. Mom?
Mr. Mom, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, we're going to kind of go this route here, right?
Technical
difficulties. But I walked out of the theater and I was not even gonna lie, I gushed over this movie for days. I was gushing over this movie. I was like, man, I just saw one of the greatest things ever. There's a few little tiny issues that I have with it, but other than that, the villain being one, but other than that, I walked out of the theater, I was like, this was so great. I want to see it again.
It was very well polished. From top to bottom, everything was extremely well polished.
But better be.
Well, yeah.
It took a while.
One of the things I think we both realized was the sound effects in the movie were fantastic. You think about Star Wars having, great audio and great sound effects, but man, they did a top-notch job with the sound effects. It had stuff rolling around behind you and all around. It was good. It was real good. They did a lot of things that just played homage to it. Like the opening, one of the things is the opening Disney movies, they have the castle, right? The castle image. They had Art Deco'd the castle like it was made out of the Incredibles kind of diagram. It was great.
Oh, cool.
Just small little stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was all right. I gotta stop gushing for a little bit, bit, and actually just try to get. Because I texted you a few days later, and I said this might be my favorite superhero movie of this year.
Wow.
And this is after seeing Infinity War, and I'm just like, this might be my favorite one. Now, if it is, Infinity War is a close second, but and Black Panther is right on the heels of that too. But I'm just like, I think this might be my favorite one. And what it's still taking place because this takes place right after the second one, right after the first one. Like if you were to watch these back to back,
it's designed for it.
Yes.
I mean, it's designed for it. It's like you finish watching The Incredibles, you get in the car, you go see Incredibles 2, you're right on the same page. That's the way it works.
And so you're dealing right there, dealing with the Underminer and everything after the first. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's been 14 years.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it by now.
Yeah. Like so, you're dealing with the Underminer. The Underminer was actually a pretty cool little. He winds up being a side villain, unfortunately, but like he's a pretty formidable foe. And I was like, oh, okay. Because, you see this guy come out of the ground with this big drill. You're just like, oh, he's just, a guy that has gadgets or whatever. But no, this guy's just about as strong as the Mr. Incredible. So, and unfortunately, like, supers are still illegal. So even though you have that iconic scene at the end, it's like they're all putting their masks on and everything like that. They're still not supposed to do that. So they do... Wow, actually, they don't even. It's not a spoiler. They don't really stop the crime. They stop because the Underminer leaves the drill going, and he escapes. But so they have to stop the drill, like the big drill and everything, and they actually wind up causing a lot of damage.
They save the day, but they kind of support the argument of if you had done nothing, it actually would have worked out better. Yeah,
because they do make some good points. Like the lawyers that were in there talking, it was just like, you could have just done nothing. We have insurance to cover these kind of incidents and everything, which is actually true to real life. Like there's, if there's a bank robbery or something like that, there's insurance to cover those funds that are in that bank and everything. So just like, you could have just not, if there's a destruction there's things in place to actually take care of it. So I was like, that's actually a really good point. So even though like you're still rooting for the heroes, you have to kind of sit back and be like, all right, yeah, you got
you make a good point.
You might be right.
Well, but at the same time, it's kind of like with Batman versus Superman kind of thing. It's like, but what do you say to the people whose family is dead? I mean, yes, technically Superman stopped Zod from destroying the entire Earth. That's true with the Earth Changer thing, which again, it makes sense because they're super. Why would you want to make them not super? But anyway, so yes, he did stop everybody from Earth from dying, which is great. But what about those few thousand people that did die? What which is kind of why Batman doesn't
exactly.
Well, I mean,
so you got that issue. Is like, okay, yeah, but people got hurt and. Maybe some people would have been more hurt if they didn't do something. Maybe
if they didn't, intervene. Yeah,
I mean, again, it's not perfect, but not doing something. If you could do something, it's kind of like that old thing. It's like, would you, what was it like? There's some kind of ethical test. It's like, would you switch the train to crash into like a chasm that would kill everybody on the train, or would you switch the train in the middle of town, which would kill all these extra people in town? Either way, the train people are going to die. You just got to make a choice. It's like, what do you do? I mean, that's kind of the ethical test kind of a thing.
Yeah, and it is like there's a lot of play with that because that's one of the things that that Bob struggles with a lot. He's just like, I have these abilities. We shouldn't be stifling our kids. They should have the choice whether they want to be supers or not be supers or whatever. And if they, if we have the ability to help someone and stop something awful from happening, why should we, why should we hide? Why should we just turn our heads and just pretend like, it isn't happening and everything? So like there's the good argument there. It's almost the Civil War argument if you really think about it. So it's just like, do we just go ahead and say like, okay, well, this is not our jurisdiction, so we'll just stay out of it or whatever, or what happens when, hey, there's something like we can really help here, we can make a difference, but no, our hands are tied, can't do anything. So there is that argument. Some people like can argue like, okay, we've seen this already with Civil War and everything, but I like it more so in this movie than I do Civil War, because with Civil War, it's like, okay, you're dealing with each individual person there. Here, you're actually seeing it from the whole family's point of view.
And I think it being a family also. I mean, that there's that element of it too that really, it's, instead of it being a team of superheroes, it's also a family. So there's like an extra layer there of it's not just the X-Men that are like family. No. This actually is family.
Yes.
The actual real family.
Yeah, real family.
So there's a little bit more emotion there and stuff, and like even it's one of those things like even though Elastigirl, she agrees with Bob. She technically does agree. It's like, look, I know you're right, but this is the law right now. So we get away with this, like, we were only going to get away with this so many times or whatever before, one of us winds up getting hurt or something like that. And, we can't keep doing this. So I really like that little undertone that they had there. And so if you're asking about like, how is Elastigirl still allowed to go out there and be this quote unquote? Technically, she's not. But she's in costume and everything, and she's surveying the area. She's not actually doing anything. When there's this company that approaches her after the whole ordeal with the Underminer, and they're just like, hey, we can actually help you. And what they want to do is they want to actually be a good PR.
Create a pro super marketing campaign is what we're looking for in order to change the legislation to re-enable supers to practicing.
Right. Now the Underminer, didn't he come out in the end of the?
Yeah, he comes out at the end of the last one.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, because like literally it happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay then.
Yeah,
it's not 14 years later.
No.
No. And I was actually, when I first heard about it, I thought that's what they were going to do, but they don't do that. So, and actually, I think it works better this way. But I mean, it probably could have worked either way. But it just goes back into the writing and how they actually wrote it and everything. I think starting it right at the end of the last one was probably the better way to go.
I think it's animated, so you don't have to have the kids grow up if you don't want to. So you can work it.
The Simpsons. So.
Exactly.
So there's this company that they approach all three of them. Like they approach Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone. And they're like, hey, we can make you guys look good in the eyes of the public again. We can get this campaign going. We can, get that law repealed. So you don't have to be in hiding all the time. Like we can help you. And what they do is like, they put her right on the cusp of it. It's like, okay, she's not allowed to not be in costume. So they make a new it's funny, they actually do like make a new costume for her, and she's like, but it's black. She's like, I'm not dark and edgy, come on now. And then I'm just like, really, you're making a stab at DC right now? It's like, come on, guys.
I know they got enough. I got enough problems.
I know, right?
Come on,
like, come on.
They're doing fine messing themselves up.
Which I will say that in the 14 years that this is adapted, Pixar's rendering methods have gotten so good.
Yes.
Like this movie looks good, and having just watched Incredibles 1 and then jumped and seen it, you can see the metallic textures now. Like her costume has almost like a metallic sparkly kind of thing to it that actually shows up. There's lots of things about it that look great. I mean, the movie looked fantastic.
And there's just little things like stuff I probably didn't catch in the original, but like little things in this one with the animation, because Helen Hunt, she's got that kind of like almost southern.
Holly Hunt.
Holly Hunt, yeah, sorry.
That's how bad the Solo movie was. Names,
but like she has that southern twang a little bit, and kind of talks out of the side. They have Elastigirl talk that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really neat. Like it was something like I didn't catch in the first one, and I don't know if they actually did in the first one, but you can really see it's like really defined. Like she usually talks like kind of like out of the side of her mouth. Like that's a nice little detail.
Yeah,
I think they started doing that more and more in for animated and for like aliens and characters and stuff. They try to make the character look more like the actor.
Oh yeah, they can do the facial capture.
Yeah, they
facial
do that.
capture
So you get that.
stuff.
Yeah. So you will see, like, even if it's an alien, there'll still be some facial kind of like they'll go with that actor's face if it's a long face.
Avatar. Avatar was probably one of the first ones that did stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're trying to. Like I said, they put her right on the cusp, like, okay, she's not breaking the laws. No law says she can't be in costume. Like, she just can't do any technical super work. However, there's this thing that happens with the train, and she saves the train, like, very, very minimal damage. And the reason why they chose her instead of Mr. Incredible is because they didn't want the whole. All right, remember what happened at the end of Man of Steel, where we were just talking about all that like collateral damage and stuff like that? It was just like, all right, yeah, we get it that okay, you are super strong and you're invulnerable to a certain degree and everything like that.
But they want someone with some finesse, probably.
Yeah, you cause a lot of damage as well.
Right.
So like they don't want the same thing to happen like what happened with the Underminer.
We need a scalpel, not a sledgehammer.
Exactly. And she does. She saves the train and everything like that. And there's a villain that's actually behind this. I'm not going to spoil who the villain is. To be perfectly honest, and this is one of my issues with the movie, if you see it, if you're watching it, you're going to figure it out very, very early. And it's, I don't want to say, I don't know if it's done on purpose that way. If it's done on purpose, you probably shouldn't, because there is a quote unquote twist that happens, the reveal. But it's like, I already know. So I don't know. Did you have that?
Yeah. I mean, I think this kind of goes back to being kids movie versus adult movie. As probably an adult that's seen enough movies, you'll figure it out quick. Honestly, to me, it didn't take away too much from the movie.
No, it's a little thing for me.
But it was kind of a shallow thing.
Yeah,
little too many hints.
Yeah, just dialogue and everything. Like you're gonna pick it up right away.
Yep.
You're gonna pick it up right away. You're just like, all right. But that aside, I was like I said, I'm okay with it. It's a minor thing, to be perfectly honest. But you know, the whole like reveal and everything was supposed to be. I don't know. I guess why it detracts from me is because like there was this quote unquote big reveal.
Yes.
So I'm just like, all right, this would have been more effective if I didn't know that this was coming. Or if I didn't figure out who the villain actually was.
Well, I mean, I would probably say that would be one advantage Incredibles 1 had over this one is while the villain is revealed earlier in the first Incredibles, you really don't have any idea who it is more so than in this one.
Right. So I would say like, okay, that kind of detracted a little bit. What I was actually surprised was I saw a few reviews after, because I like to watch my reviews after and stuff like that. I've seen the movie and everything, and I form my own thoughts and stuff like that. But I was actually surprised where a lot of people were actually upset, not upset, but like they were like, he's like, oh, we got this, we gotta do this whole female empowerment thing or whatever. Dad's got to stay at home while she's got to be the one doing all this. I'm like, not really. I mean, because like I said, they make a pretty decent argument as to why, like, okay, you have to just hand back for a little bit. It's like not like we're benching him permanently. It's just like, all right, like you said, we need somebody
with more finesse.
Exactly.
You need a fine, like you need a jeweler's hammer, not a sledgehammer.
Exactly. Exactly. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But there is some dialogue in there that's referred to a couple of times or whatever. And even when he actually starts to get upset about like, oh, why me here? I'm like, why? I'm, and then he starts saying like, oh, I'm better. And she just shoots him a look like, I mean, she's trying to like reconcile it. But I can see why some people are kind of like having a little bit of an issue with it. But for me, I'm like, this is taking place in the 60s.
Right.
So this is.
So technically that would be how it would be. Well, then let me ask you this though. I've not seen it. Unlike, let's say, for example, The Last Jedi, where we talked about this, that I feel personally, Poe did made the right decisions, but still was chastised by Leia and Holdo. You're a reckless, blah 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 blah. So did they do it in that way, or did they just say, well, hey, did it do it that way?
No, actually, this was probably the biggest difference in The Last Jedi. There was definite resortion to name calling. There's no proof of competency. Right. There was it was more like you're withholding information, causing more problems, blah, all this. There was no reason behind it. With Incredibles 2, you have this happen, but but all the reasons and all the decisions that are made are based upon competency.
Yeah.
And the issues that will arise from that, meaning Mr. Incredible, he gets upset the fact that he wants to be better. He wants to, he's having his struggles with it.
Right.
But you can actually see a dialogue between the two going on about how do we reconcile this issue that honestly.
So it seems to me that what you're saying is basically, it's not like he's talked down to.
No.
You can't do it because you're a man and I'm a woman and I'm an independent, blah, blah, blah.
Not
so
at all.
it doesn't sound preachy. It sounds sensible. It's
Yeah.
like, we need these specific skill sets that you don't have.
Right.
Yeah.
And he knows it.
and
Well, he knows
there-
his wife is capable. That's
Right.
the thing, too.
And there's
So
that
it's
there they have a conversation there because what they were hoping for is Mr. Incredible can go, he gets the job and she can stay and take care of the kids.
Right.
But they have to have an actual discussion because as much as he doesn't want her to go out and into danger, even though he knows she's capable of it, she is the one that is selected, and so that's what she needs to do, reluctantly. He, on the other hand, she doesn't have a lot of faith and confidence that he'll be able to take care of the kids. But he's like, look, this is going to have to be my job, and let me go and do the best job of it that I can do.
And he does, and it's really, to be honest, to me, it was really respectable how he went about it and everything. Because he did get upset at first, whatever, and stuff like that. And he got frustrated and everything, but it wasn't like nagging. It wasn't something that lasted the whole movie, and then he had to have this arc at the end. No, he actually has the arc pretty early on.
Right,
He's just like,
it was
all right, I got to do this. Like the whole thing with the math and everything. I was like, oh, who changes math and everything? Which is funny because they technically do change the way we do math and everything. But he goes out his way to learn how to do it that way so he can help, his son and everything. He can help Dash. And I was like, that's... Actually, I didn't expect that, but I'm like, I really welcome that.
The best way I can the best way I'll describe it is this: it wasn't just the way that, especially the trailer set it up to be. It's like, oh, this is just going to be daddy daycare comedy, whatever.
Bumbling,
whatever. Fool, Homer Simpson goes try to take care of the kids with superpowers. That's how it kind of was set up. But the way it rolled out was a little bit more Kindergarten Cop. I mean, it was like Kindergarten Cop. He walks in there, does not have a clue of what he's doing. But he hits bottom, learns what he needs to do right, and adapts and overcomes. And it shows a real growth in his character that way. So it's not about making fun of the guy. It's actually showing character growth and development.
Yes. And I don't know if for me, it seemed like with because because we know Jack has powers, especially at the end of we know by the end of the first one he definitely has powers. And if you've seen the little blurb or the little, what was it? It wasn't a deleted scene or anything. It was actually like a little side movie, like Jack's Adventure or something.
Oh yeah, with the babysitter.
Yeah, and he has like all these powers. Did you see that part?
It was on the
DVD extra.
It was on the DVD extra.
I guess I saw.
It's called Jack Attacks.
Yeah,
No,
Jack
I didn't
Attacks.
see that, no.
Okay,
You can probably find it on YouTube. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, but it's revealed that he has powers. He has multiple of them, and it's hard. Like he has to the point where like he can literally go into another dimension. Like he'll just like pop out of the existence in this realm, and he'll just be off somewhere else and everything. And
Well, that's on the previews too, and that's kind of like a poltergeist thing.
yeah.
So it's kind of like you hear him. It's like Daddy's got a cookie or something.
But it becomes way too much to deal with and everything as because technically, if you really think about it, he's single parenting right now,
Right.
and it was almost like, is this kind of mirroring a special needs kid to a certain degree?
I was thinking.
I was kind of getting
when
that
I
little
think about
undertone.
it kind of,
because they can be a really hard deal. Like, if you've got autism, Asperger's or something, you have these outbreaks and everything that you have to really take into account for, relationships with other kids and stuff like that. I was like, that's the one thing I was getting from it. I was like, that's a nice little subtle undertone, if that's what they were going for.
So they never really, I guess, mention the other kids growing up.
No. They
superpowers?
don't. I mean, honestly, I thought they did. That part of this was the beauty of it. They actually made That the plot was really strong with the kids. The daughter is going through adolescence and emotional issues.
No, I was asking was, did they not like say, oh, remember when Dash was a kid and he would do these things? So, because it seems like
it doesn't seem like they had multi powers.
They didn't have the multiple powers. If you're a baby and you can turn invisible, right? You're like, where's the baby? You know? I mean, exactly. I mean, so it's kind of like Jack disappearing, sort of. So I'm like, I'm just trying to think. Like, I guess maybe they weren't acting that way, or maybe their powers hadn't.
They were probably a little bit
established
more
yet, or something.
Yeah, I guess in the sense of the universe that's the world that's built around them, it's if you're a super, it's a little bit more manageable if you just have one power and you get a beat on it. It's probably tough, but it's like, all right, I can get a beat on it and I can kind of put measures in to stop it. With Jack, it was almost unlimited. To the stuff that was just popping up, like he can create multiples of himself and everything. He could go through walls, laser beam eyes, and everything.
Plus, I don't know if they all manifest their powers at the same time. Like Jack manifested as a baby. Right. I don't know.
Maybe the other ones did it later or something. So.
Which is possible. And what's his name? Vi didn't actually. Like, she knew she could turn invisible and stuff like that. She knew she could create force fields, but she didn't know to the extent of what she could do them as and everything. And there are other supers in here. And one of the things I liked, and actually, to be honest, and like I said, they're going all, like, some people were complaining about the quote unquote social justice aspect or whatever, and like empowering, like, oh, everything's got to be about empowering women and everything now. But like I said, like earlier, I'm like, this is the 60s, so they would just be, people would have these conversations and everything. And even like, it's not even, there's no dialogue really about it, but the guy who's talking to Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl and Frozone, he says something along the lines like, like being accepted can be really rough, especially for people like yourself and everything. And he doesn't say a word, but Frozone laughs. He just kind of like, he just gives one of those like knowing laughs, and I'm just like it's nothing really said, but I'm like, I kind of like that because like he would be having this problem as well on a different level. So I'm just like, like same thing with Elastigirl. I'm like, she's gonna have this problem as a woman. Frozone's gonna have a problem as a black male or as a black person or whatever. So I'm like,
I would say that would be the one thing. That was something that this movie has done so much different than, especially when you go to the Justice in Star Wars lately. But this movie did so much better than so many other times that I have seen it. It did not come out with a statement and a judgment on the statement. It might ask a question, but if it's going to ask a question, it's also going to have a dialogue about that, and that is something you never ever see in the media or whatever today. And I think they did a really good job. I mean, they bring up a lot of points. Yeah. And that there are certain things they are trying to say here, but I don't think they're necessarily trying to say it as much as they're just really trying to ask you the question and say, hey, you're the audience and you're smart enough to, I think, to come to your own conclusion.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because I think people appreciate that.
Yeah, it's not hitting you over the head with it or anything. Like I said, some people thought it was. I didn't get that at all.
They could have. I mean, they could have. I think I think that's what's really remarkable about it is a lot of the premises in the movie, they really could have taken you with a baseball bat and beaten you up on it, and I don't think it would have been successful at all. No, but they didn't. They left it much more, creating a dialogue and a very interesting story about it versus trying to make past judgment. Yeah,
and it's like to the point like it's there, and it's to the point like when you see like there's other supers that show up. There's a girl super that shows up, and she's like, you are my hero. Like I am so glad.
Oh yeah, the fan idol.
She fangirls
totally.
But yeah, it's funny, but at the same time, it's like you get it. Just like, all right, yeah, she would be like, she definitely would be a big inspiration for for her and everything. I will say this: the use of the powers, I don't want to say light years ahead of the first one, because there was moments in the first one that was just like, that was so Dash running on water, coolest thing. And there is a fight scene that goes on between Violet and I can't remember her name now. I got to look it up, but the other female super. I'm trying to find out who she is real quick, but she has the ability to kind of create
dimensional portals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of like Blink from X-Men, whatever. Remember, you seen X-Men First Class? Not First Class. Days of Future Past. We saw that together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did we see it? But yeah, like she actually can basically create a portal.
It's like a portal. The portal gun. There's a game called Portal, and it's called the portal gun. And you aim it and you shoot at it, and you can fall through holes and do all this kind of stuff. That's almost like her superpowers. Portal gun.
Void. That's her
name.
Void.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her name. And they have this battle, like her and it is awesome, dude. I'm like, this is probably close to rivaling that because, like, okay,
the Nightcrawler. Yeah.
I was like, this was really cool because they eventually, like, they're by some means, not going to spoil how, they become bad people, like the other supers, and they have to battle with the kids and everything. And it's like, that's because Jack's running. All she does, she creates a void. She creates a portal, and he's just repeatedly running through the house. And everything. That was really cool. But I think the fight between her and Vi was like, because she would create a force field. She'd like do a portal. She'd fall out of the force field and everything. I was like, that is actually really neat.
Yeah.
And like he said, some of the sound design was great because. Every time, like, I have a tell when I'm watching a movie and I'm tense, I'll start to pinch this pressure point. I don't know why, but I pinched this pressure point, like, right here. And I was getting really tense at times because with animation, like you were telling me earlier, they don't have to pull punches or anything. Right, like, when they get hit, you can do the whole deformation in the face and everything. Like, they are really getting hit. And, like, some of the hits were hard, man. Like, it was just, I kind of compared it to Captain America Winter Soldier to a certain degree, but I think it's actually a little bit more, it gets a little bit more intense than that. Not as violent as that, but just intense, just people throwing punches and everything. Because it was funny, like one time Elastigirl threw a punch at Void. She created the portal, and it created it right by her face, so she punched herself in the face.
That's great.
But there was just times I'm just like, I'm flinching. I'm like, golly. And there was something would happen, and I would actually like get scared, like something would blow up. I'm like, oh, because it's just the sound is that good.
The sound is good.
Yeah, the sound is.
And the score from the first movie that everybody liked, that's back.
Yes.
And so it's just. Yeah, the sound was really great.
Yeah, and there's one moment that I felt like they probably because all right, there's something that happens to the villain, and technically like we saw it, and I'm just like, oh, that was a harsh way to go. We thought thought the villain was dead.
Yeah. I mean, it was
that was probably the most.
It's like, dang, that was cold.
Yeah, that's probably the most harsh form of violence that you see in the movie. We're just like, oh, she's dead.
I mean, that was like, I mean, that was Daniel Craig Bond.
Yeah,
cold. I mean, it was. Yeah, it was pretty harsh.
And technically, I'm still like kind of standing by, like, she should have been, and I think she was until somebody was just like, oh no. This is still for kids now. It's like, we gave you Syndrome in the first one.
That sucked into an airplane.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we gave you that in the first one, but no, not like that.
Was it a wood chipper?
Was that?
Was it a wood chipper?
No,
Okay.
no.
That's a bit harsh.
Yeah,
That is a bit harsh.
And
We
when
saw,
it's in the moment. It's like if I were to say it, it doesn't sound as bad.
No.
But it's when you see it. It's like, oh, whoa. And you're like, yeah, she's dead. And she should be. She should be, but I think like someone saw it and was just like, no, we can't have that. Yeah, so I think that's what probably happened. Like I said, I love the family theme of it and everything. I love the action. I love the arc that everyone really has, because I feel like Elastigirl really started to see the struggles that Mr. Incredible was dealing with and vice versa. So I felt like, there was that. I liked the and I know, and it's funny, like a lot of parents were like not really that much into Vi. They were just like, all right, I get what you're trying to go for here with like the adolescent stuff like that, but they're just like, it's not that bad. And I'm like, It's fine. I mean, like some of it was played for comedy and stuff like that. Right. So like, but you got it. Like, okay, she's going through a lot of changes and everything, and no, this is not a spoiler, but this is one of the points of the movie. One of the points of the movie that actually gets her angry at her dad is. You remember like the little boy, the boy that she was asking out at the end of the first one. And
Tommy Ridinger.
Jody Ridinger.
That's it. Yeah, I just remember the way Dash said it. It's like,
and so there's a moment where he actually finds out who she is. And obviously, okay, yeah, supers cannot have their identity revealed or anything. So they get the guy from the first one to kind of erase his memory. Though it's the first time I think they showed it, other than Jack.
This is like in the first 5 seconds of the movie, so it's
Yeah, so they show it, but he erases that part, but he erases like
too much.
Yeah. And he doesn't remember who she is. So like, and then he finds out like, oh, the dad asked her, so she's like, you ruined my life and everything. I was like, she's like, oh no, I hate being a super. She throws the suit like in the garbage disposal, like flapping. And then she just gets frustrated, throws it against the wall and everything. So I mean, it's played for laughs, but at the same time, you kind of get it. It's like, okay,
I mean, it's you got drama, and then Dash is on the other side of it. He's having the scholastic troubles,
right.
And then you've got the monster maniac that is Jack, and that's just everybody's troubles.
Seriously, some serious terrible twos,
dude. Just
like you wouldn't believe.
It's like every parent's going, my kid does that, but doesn't do it the same way. But he's still a monster.
Yeah. Oh man, Jack almost stole the show for after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, him and that raccoon.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this raccoon now.
There's a raccoon in it. I definitely have to see it now.
It's a raccoon.
This raccoon.
And he'd give Rocket a run for his money. I mean, it's
And by saying that, my wife would probably want to see this with a raccoon in it.
The raccoon and Jack get into a fight. No, and Jack starts using his powers and everything. Now you would think the animal instinct. You're just like, all right,
Run away.
I'm kind of done here. It's like, all right, this is a little bit much. I'm kind of done. I'm probably not. Nope, this raccoon, to the point where the raccoon's came back, standing on top of one of the trash cans, just kind of like looking in the window. It's like, get you, bro. As soon as you come out here, come on out. Come on. So I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, man. Like raccoon, I'm just like, you should know. Animal instinct, like. Run something at you. I mean, I'm a human being. I see a baby doing that, I'm running.
If I seen a raccoon at my window go, I'm gonna take you out, I probably would move away too. Let's be honest with you. You all right? Okay. I almost got his spit take there. You should appreciate that. Yeah, the raccoon was like, okay.
Yeah, it's man. It's like I said, for me, it's probably my favorite. And this is, I haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, so I haven't seen that because that hasn't come out yet. It comes out, this coming weekend as we're recording this. Still haven't seen Aquaman or Spider-Man Into the Multiverse or whatever it is. Still haven't seen that, but they've got a lot. They've got, this summer's actually been pretty good for at least the superhero genre of movies or whatever. And this one, to me, it's just like, this one really topped it. This one, like, it fired on nearly all cylinders. Like I said, the villain was probably the biggest thing, and that's not even like a real big thing. Like I said, I got out of this movie. I'm like gushing. I texted him like, what was it, the day after or something? Yeah. And I was like, man, I think this is my favorite superhero movie of this year. I think
you've just been dwelling on it for the last 12 hours.
Yeah, because I do that. I try to like process it and just like, okay, take my time, think about it. I'm like, what did I really see that was really wrong? What did I really see that was wrong? I'm like, man, like they didn't do a whole lot that was really wrong. I didn't see much of
polished.
anything.
I mean, it was polished. Sort of like when you're talking about Deadpool 2 and some of the jokes, Guardians and the jokes or whatever. No, they Pixar has their comedic timing down flat.
Yeah. So they literally like got rid of all the ones that didn't work, and these pretty much all work.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
It was good. Yeah. And the action sequences, like you were saying, creative, great, good camera angles. I mean, just You could tell they spent their time going over that movie with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Like,
Well,
you
it
really think
took
about
a few
it.
years, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
they took all four. No, they didn't take all four. There's no way, but they took their time.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Like, if you really think about it, it's like, okay, we're saying like a lot of these things are just they're firing on all cylinders. But if you really think about it, it's like, yeah, you better. Yeah, and you had all this time.
Yeah,
Don't
after
rush it
14
out
years,
now.
you better not. Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta come back with them. Just halfway.
So Pixar did their thing with this one. And I said, I'm standing by it. I think it's my favorite for the year. Regardless of what comes out later on. So Ant-Man and the Wasp might be friggin' awesome, but I don't know.
I don't know if I can quite give it all that. I'm sure we're gonna have, at the moment, Infinity War still, and the only reason that is I felt like Infinity War's plot was a little bit more unpredictable. While and that's that would be the only detractor.
Yeah.
With Incredibles, it was an extremely well done movie, and if it hadn't been for that villain, I would probably give it top marks.
Yeah, definitely.
But good stuff.
So you gotta go see it, William.
You gotta go see it.
Even if it's just for the raccoon.
Yeah, I said my wife would probably go see if the raccoon. How often is the raccoon in it? Just a
I
briefly.
think he shows up twice.
I think he shows up twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like there is a point where actually Jack does get control of his powers to a certain degree, anyway.
But it doesn't incinerate the raccoon. The
raccoon's
alive.
Raccoon's alive.
Well, alive in an art cartoonish sense.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Okay, my wife probably would like to see that.
There were no. Well, I wouldn't say there were no raccoons harmed, but there were no raccoons permanently harmed in this film.
Well, what was the movie with the the squirrel? Nut job or something?
Yeah.
Was it like that? I mean, because my wife loved that because when he ate the cookie and he's running around out racing the lasers or something. It was. I think that was the one, wasn't it? Over the hedge.
That was over the hedge.
Over the hedge. Yeah, yeah. So, that's he's out running the lasers because he's so hyped up on sugar and caffeine or something, stuff like that. So I think my wife would like that.
Yeah, you guys, it's definitely enjoyable. It's definitely enjoyable.
It is.
Our friend Anthony's actually gonna go see it Monday. So, so if you haven't seen this, is a definitely for me. This is a definite go check it out. I would say definitely, yeah. It's I don't recommend a lot of 3D movies. We didn't see it in 3D, but looking at it right now after having seen it in 2, it'd probably be worth the 3D pick. I mean, I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying something. Wow.
There was one movie, the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, like when that came out. And I saw it in theater because I saw Thor in 3D, and I liked Thor, did not like the 3D. I was like, this 3D is not working for me whatsoever, so I kind of swore off of it for a while. But I think Avengers, I think I would have liked to see that in 3D, just because some of the way the shots are and everything like that. I'm just like, this would have probably been really good in 3D. And they've gotten better with it. It gets better as they go on and stuff like that. So, but especially with animated, you don't really have a whole lot of limits to what you can do, as opposed to with live action and everything. So, yeah, I'd probably. Maybe. I'm not going to say I would see it in 3D.
Just think about Void in 3D.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially coupled with the sound and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. There's a guy, is his name Crusher? Let me look it up. I think his name is Crusher.
I think his name is Crusher.
Crushar.
Is he French?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think he is French. Okay. But there's a little funny blur because he's quote unquote evil, but once he's knocked out of it, he snaps back to his senses and everything. He's like, Mr. Crumb's like, hey, can you fix this or whatever? And he's just like, oh, no one's ever asked me to do that before. It's like, how do you uncrush something? Just like, what if somebody punches you? How do you unpunch? It was, so they're having this argument back and forth. So that's pretty funny. But I'm trying to think of the other heroes in here. Edna Mode comes back.
Yes,
of course.
And
she's wonderful as usual.
Yes.
And she's mad because technically the suit that keep wanting to call her Miss Incredible. That's not right.
Elastigirl.
The suit that she's wearing is actually not made by
her.
Yeah, so she's mad.
Maybe like Bodo or something like that. Some other designer.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely will enjoy this. And if you're going in Greenville, you better let me know. So
tag along.
So yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's three movie reviews for the price of one.
So one, definitely see Incredibles. Deadpool. I think I definitely see.
I'm catching on digital at this point. I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Solo. If you had a choice, these other two, definitely go see them. Don't waste your time on Solo. He's gonna agree with that. You've seen it, you agree with that.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for I'll wait for it to come on Amazon Prime because that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the latest Transformers movie or anything, and that's on Amazon Prime. I can watch for free right now, but I'm like, I saw it and I was like, nah, I'll watch Luke Cage. So, I went straight to Netflix and watched Luke Cage.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, this has been one heck of a summer. Like I said, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's probably going to...
Yeah.
Actually,
and you just mentioned Luke Cage just came out.
Yeah, Luke Cage came out.
Luke Cage season 2, Jessica Jones season...
That came out earlier this year.
Earlier this year. Have you seen any of that yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw all of Jessica Jones, definitely.
All of it?
Yeah. You didn't watch all of it?
The first few episodes, I'm like, uh-oh.
The first few weren't that good.
Is that what it is, the Wizard?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like...
The first few, I will admit, are not that good.
Yeah, because I thought the Wizard thing was getting pretty hokey.
The first few are not that good. But as it goes on, there's a theme, especially like even with Luke Cage, there's a theme with anger. Mm-hmm. And for Jessica Jones, it was more like it was self-destructive in a sense, like completely self-destructive. Like she was ruining like her image altogether and everything. Right. With Luke Cage, it's still self-destructive, but he's also destructive as well because just, I kind of like it. I like it like, in that sense because like how anger works and how it affects different people and everything. And so I thought that was really neat. But it does get better. I'll say that. Jessica Jones does get better.
Good. Because I really liked Jessica Jones, and I was like, this first one was, the first season of Jessica Jones was amazing. It was awesome. Yes. Holy crap. Some of the stuff they did, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So I just couldn't wait to see the next episode. Luke Cage, same thing. I could not wait to see the next episode. And I was trying not to binge it just because I wanted to watch something good instead of crappy. So I'm like, I want to hold on to them a little bit.
I will say it's not as good as the first season. It's still good, but it's not as good as the first season. Right. It's still decent.
It's kind of like with Luke Cage a little bit right now.
Yeah. Same here. I'm not done with it or anything yet, but
I'm halfway through.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to the part where Iron Fist joins him?
No.
Okay, that was actually pretty good. That's why I think it gets a little bit better there. I don't know if I like the new bad guy. Parts of it, parts of it, no. I don't know. I personally thought, like we mentioned, that Cottonmouth was a much better villain. Yeah. Just because he seemed scarier.
He was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like.
He was, and I love, the other thing about Luke Cage I love is the way it's shot. Everything, the filming, the cinematography.
Stylish.
So stylish. It's great. I think it personally has the best theme song opening of any of these other ones. I mean, I don't remember Iron Fist's one or Daredevil's. Daredevil's pretty good, but the song, the opening theme song is funky. I love it. It's great.
I like the stylization of it because excuse me, Luke Cage is the way they shoot it, like even the way like most of the acting is, it's like those old it's kind of like those old blaxploitation films and stuff. Yeah. So speaking of blaxploitation, I got upset one time because I came into work one day and it was just like, hey man, what's up? What's that movie that came out? There was a movie that came out not too long ago, and they were calling me this name. They were calling me the name of the character or whatever. 2018. They were calling me the name of the character, and I was trying to remember, like, who the heck? Like, why do you keep calling me this guy? Because I remembered the old one. I didn't know they had remade it.
Superfly.
Superfly, yes. And I was like, I was calling like, what's up, Superfly? Why are you calling me Super? I'm like, call me Superfly for? I'm like, I was thinking of the old Superfly. I'm like, I don't look nothing like him.
I don't think you look like a new guy either.
Well, it's the hair. Oh. It was the hair because like there was an image.
Hair.
Well, yeah, his hair, like the new Superfly, because he had like the hair coiffed up. Like that one time I had an improv show, I had it coiffed up, whatever. Okay. And that's they remembered like the people at work remembered that image or whatever. And they were just like, "What's up, Superfly?" I'm like, "Call me Superfly for." And I go when I see this, I'm like, "Man, screw y'all." So, but I haven't seen it, but apparently it's decent, and they kind of kept like that same stylization like they had in the original or whatever. But
but honestly, man, I love listening to Superfly soundtrack because I saw the original. Mm-hmm. Again, you notice I'm not black, but I mean, Curtis Mayfield, the whole thing. I mean, just I don't know that whole soundtrack is just amazing. This to me, if you listen to that music in the movies, and I think that was a movie that did the music right early on. Again, I've not seen it either, but it doesn't look like this particular take on him is the same writing or personality as the original character. Youngblood Priest. Because in the original, he wanted to make one big score and get out. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this one's the same. If it is, that's cool. I mean, keeping it the same. I think from what I was hearing and reading about it was he's just trying to take over. I don't know. That's not the same though.
Yeah.
If you listen to the song "Freddy's Dead," talking about why you want to be a junkie. Remember, exactly. Freddy's dead. Exactly. It's like that's a powerful song. You're like, I don't know why you want to be a junkie because Freddy's dead. It's like I don't know how else you can say it that way. So I don't know. I heard it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I heard there was little snippets of that original soundtrack in this movie, but
that makes you feel good, like the Star Wars, like it's so good.
Yeah, but I don't know. It
takes place in Atlanta. It's not in Harlem,
right?
In Washington, in New York, rather.
Right.
It's Atlanta.
So it's. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't know there was a remake of this movie until like people started calling me that at work. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's got this. I guess it has that same style as in people dressing in flashy clothes, big cars, and stuff like that. You got that issue.
People dressing in all white and stuff like
that. Yeah. So you got some of that. So I can see where they're going, but I don't know.
It might be okay, might not be, whatever. That'll be another movie I'll probably, if I check it out, it'll be like home release or something like that. I'll tell you what I do want to go see. And this is, honestly, it's just because I've never seen a Rocky movie in a theater. But I kind of want to go see Creed 2. I hope it's good. That with Creed, I missed my chance because I did want to go see Creed, but I forgot it was coming out. So by the time I remembered anything about it, it was already on Amazon. I was like, I missed it. And then I feel really bad because I missed it. I really would have loved to see that in theaters, but I kind of want to go see Creed 2. I kind of do. I don't know if it'll be as good as the first Creed movie, but just for the novelty of saying like I finally went to go see a Rocky movie in theaters or whatever. So because there's a lot of movies that franchises that are out now and everything like that. Star Wars. I'm like I didn't really get to go see Star Wars in theaters until
Phantom Menace.
No, Attack of the Clones.
Wow. Okay.
It was Attack of the Clones. I remember that one because I fell asleep.
That midsection with the water world
I fell asleep and I remember waking up mad because it was still going. I was like, why is this still on? And then Star Wars I saw in theaters. Jurassic Park I saw that when it originally came out and everything. So there's just some novelties. I'm like it's a Rocky movie. It would be nice to say like I at least saw one of those in theaters or whatever, because the original Rocky movie or Rocky 2 or something like that, like those would have been. Were you born yet when Rocky came out? First one? Did you see that in theaters?
No, I was young. I was too.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But, I remember it coming out, but I was still too young.
Okay.
I was 9 when Star Wars came out, 77.
Gotcha.
Rocky came out, I think 75.
Yeah.
So I was, that was I think it was rated R. I think
Rocky?
I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, some of the subject matter, I guess.
I think
now it would just be PG-13.
PG-13 or PG, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I think it was rated. I think it was rated R.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they had a different rating system back then. So.
They did.
Yeah, I would probably say that's the movie I'm most excited for now. Is Creed 2. Any movie you're looking forward to seeing?
Dinosaurs.
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
You will have to let me know how it is.
Okay, no problem. And then Ant-Man Wasp.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. It looks like it'll be fun at least.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'm not expecting. I enjoyed the first one. I'm not expecting anything major, but at the same time, I don't know. I could go for another fun superhero movie.
A good fun superhero movie.
Yeah.
Well, if Ant-Man was like the first one, that was a fun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I just looked at it. Rocky was 76.
Okay.
And it was only PG.
Okay.
I thought it was rated R for sure.
Okay.
But only PG.
All right.
If you were 9 at the time, your parents still might have been on the fence about it.
Yeah, if I was 8, I think it was 8. Yeah, it was 8 and 76. Okay. So yeah, but that wouldn't have been a movie at an 8-year-old really wanted to see. You know?
Well, no, I think I saw Rocky when I was 8, like 8, 9 years old or whatever. As I grew up, I grew to appreciate the movie more because, when you're a kid, you're just like, oh, boxing, stuff like that, people fighting, because I was really big into Kung Fu theater and everything. So when Rocky came out, I was like, oh, boxing, cool, and every stuff like that. But it wasn't, I mean, boxing was a part of it, but it wasn't about that. I think if I saw Rocky 3 first, because that was a little bit more action-y and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Well, I do have to say that, I don't know, in some ways I think that was, I don't know, in some ways I think it was the best one of that group. I mean, they were all kind of fun. I mean, Rocky 4 was kind of fun in its own way.
Yeah.
But there's something cool about Mr. T and the whole thing. It just was like,
I don't know. My problem with the middle Rocky movies is they reminded me like of the later 90s Batman flicks. You know what I mean? It's just it stopped being Batman and ended up being this cartoonish.
I will say, like the first one, like I said, the older I got, the more I really appreciate it. I was like, wow. So as the quality of the movie, I would say that, okay, yeah, this is definitely the best one. One of the ones that I really like, I mean, the second one I still liked. I didn't like it as good as the first one. The second one I still liked. The third one, like I said, it was a little more actiony. If I had seen it at the same time, like before I'd seen any other ones, I was like, oh yeah, Rocky and stuff like that. But I liked how meta that one was, because it was actually kind of reminiscent of what Sylvester Stallone was dealing with in real life, and everything. But at the same time, like Rocky 4 was still fun in some ways and everything, but it was almost becoming not a parody, but
almost like a parody of itself.
Yeah. So I
must break you.
Yeah, I'm just like,
but even the cheesy, like you said, the 90s Batman, even they had their appeal, at least in some way, just as kind of a, I don't know, just like you said, kind of like a popcorn movie. You go in and you don't think too much about it. You just go in and you just go like, oh, it's ridiculous, but it was fun.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the first Joel Schumacher one, Batman Forever, I think. Honestly, the only reason I wanted to see that was because of Jim Carrey. But that one, I would say, like, yeah, it's it's go there and have some fun or whatever.
Right.
Batman and Robin for me is a so bad it's good thing. That is one of those, like, and I avoided that movie for so long, and I'm kind of upset with myself because I did not want to see George Clooney as Batman. That was my main hang up. I was just like, you know what? I don't care if Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze. I don't care about any of that. I will not see a movie where George Clooney is Batman. And I regret it. And I know Mr. Clooney regrets it too, because he talks about it. He's like actually voicing
it. It was the nipples, wasn't it? It was the nipples. That's what it was. A close up of the nipples. I know.
But yeah, that is definitely a so bad it's good movie or whatever. I'm just like, I like it, but probably not for its intended purpose or whatever. But I don't know. I think the Rocky movies kind of were getting more towards like that Batman Returns type thing or whatever. I would say not Batman Returns, Batman Forever. So I'd say it was probably getting more towards that.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for today.
I think we
guys.
talked about every single movie ever made.
Yeah,
now.
I know, right? All right. Well, thank you guys all for joining us once again. Thank you for all for being a part of the show. As always,
Yep.
I always appreciate it.
And just to say to everybody listening, when you tuned in to see the Incredibles review, you did not expect us to talk about Superfly, now did you?
No.
That's how comprehensive. We do not miss a thing.
There you go. There you go. All right. So once again, thank you guys all for watching and listening. If you're listening on the SoundCloud and everything like that, appreciate it. Also, please visit our website, biglabentertainment.com. Follow us on the Twitters, Facebook, all that stuff. All those social media links, they're down in the description down below. Once again, thank you, Mr. William.
McClam.
Yeah, thank you, Trae, for being a special guest once again.
No problem.
Yep. Anytime there's, like I said, anytime there's Star Wars, you got to be here. So, all right, guys. So that's it. That's it for today, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.